Nobody can say that all of Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Okay, great. People look it up. Who's moving?
Just let me know when. Yeah, 2:05.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Josh.
Okay. Press play. Happens after 2:05.
We'll probably do each one. So this is good.
Wait, so are we doing the timer for the real one?
No, we're gonna make it out because they're not.
That's real. They might. Yes, 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 yes. It's super fun. We will. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, okay. All right. Then we're gonna clap for you. We're gonna do local leader right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'll come stand on the end.
Wait, this is
Yeah, I'll be over
Johnson.
here. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's first practice.
No, never mind.
Yes, I'm gonna say first. Oh, that's one more case. It's gonna work.
I'm with you, Pat.
Okay, I got you. We're about to start.
All right, I'm muted. Bye. Thank you.
Okay.
Are y'all ready? Good evening. I'd like to take this minute to thank you for coming and attending the school board meeting here, and a special thank you to the Northport City Commissioners and the Council for allowing us to come down here to Northport tonight. At this time, if you would please rise, take off your hat, put your phone on silent. The Northport Junior ROTC will be presenting the colors, as well as Jaylin, Pryer.
Right, color guard. Hope. Left. Face. Color guard. Hope. pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carry. Post. Ready. Cut. Left. Face. Forward. March. Left. 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 Right. 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 Left. 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 Right. Right.
Please be seated. Tonight's art moment is going to feature members of the Taylor Ranch Elementary School Show Choir. The full choir is made up of 42 fourth and fifth graders who rehearse before school twice a week, have performed at venues from Venice High to Disney World. Tonight, we are featuring the fourth graders of the group. Their choir director is music teacher Miranda Johnson. We'd like to thank Kara Spielman, the principal. I know that she's got a tremendous amount of school spirit and is always cheering them on. Tonight, they are going to perform Listen to the Rain, a piece that brings a thunderstorm to life. And yes, you will be part of the storm. Please hold your response to the end.
Listen to the rain, listen to the rain. Listen to the rain, listen to the rain. Listen. It's raining. It's pouring. Just the sound seems to start my spirit soaring. In the room, but this never in this place seems to rush to it's raining. Listen to the rain. In the wind, in the thunder, there's a beautiful wonder. Glory trust its love, the holy God, the wind it's raining. Listen to the rain. Drip, drop, drop, drip, drop, drop, water. Music will sound, even rocks and along to the rhythm of the rain. Drip, drop, drop, drip, drop, drop, waters cover the ground. The lyrics are listening, listening to the rain. Now let's listen, listen to the rain.
No, that was absolutely awesome. I think it might be the best presentation that we've had, Mr. Superintendent, to date. Always great to be involved. So moving on, our student representative tonight is Jaylin Pryer. She was the one that led us in the Pledge of Allegiance. She is from Northport High School. Welcome, Jaylin, for coming to join us here tonight. Earlier, I gave you a certificate of appreciation from the board for coming tonight. So would you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Jaylin Pryer. I'm a junior at Northport High School. I've been SJ officer for 4 years, and I just got inducted and elected into being the executive student government president. Through student government, there's a bigger organization called FASC, and I'm the district secretary for that. Also, I'm heavily involved in like other things like NHS. I'm an officer, and then I'm also a school news anchor. I was involved in Northport athletics in my past. I did volleyball. And then outside of school, I work at the YMCA with kindergarten to first for after-ground summer camp. And I also coach volleyball and dance there. Yep.
Well, that's quite a bit. So where, and of course we asked this, where would you like to potentially attend college?
A public university in Florida, definitely for bright futures, because I'm also an 8th student.
Yeah, where that might be at?
Ooh, I don't know.
Florida State?
We can say Florida State. Let's say Florida State.
Okay, that's good. I think we can all agree with that. So that is awesome. Well, we hope you have an awesome future and have a great summer this summer. And
Thank you so much.
Again, we really appreciate you for coming today to
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
with the board.
Thank you.
So tonight's special presentation will be introduced by Dr. Megan Green. If she's going to recognize several high school athletes. Dr. Green, please.
Good evening. Tonight, we not only acknowledge but celebrate the astounding achievements of our state champions. This incredible student athlete group from Northport Imagine School, Northport High School, and Venice High School have etched their names into our district's history, and we couldn't be prouder. I would like to thank Superintendent Connor and the school board for their consistent recognition of our athletic teams and student athletes for their many accomplishments throughout the year. These remarkable students embody the very best of our district's aspirations. They are living proof that dedication, discipline, and unwavering character lead to extraordinary success. They haven't just excelled in their respective sports, they've thrived as exemplary students and citizens. Their achievements resonate far beyond the field, court, or mat. None of these incredible successes would have been possible without the relentless support and tireless efforts of our dedicated parents, coaches, and school leaders. They are key in fostering a child's love for their sport, teaching resilience in the face of setbacks, and modeling good sportsmanship. Their commitment to fostering an environment where athletic greatness can flourish is truly inspiring. I would like to recognize Northport Imagine School Principal John Halcomb and Athletic Director Milani Quills for their commitment to making Imagine athletics truly great. I would like to welcome Northport Imagine School weightlifting coach AJ Atwood to say a few words about their students and recognize them with a certificate.
Good afternoon. Exciting being here today. I wasn't expecting to come up and speak, so I'll have to blame that on my athletic director for not giving me a little moment's notice. But with anything with coaching, you're always spur of the moment. That's the way it rolls. This year at Imagine was exciting. We had the opportunity to field 2 state championships, 2 athletes that were able to shine, work hard, and win. The neatest thing about that is going along the journey with them. It's a long time. We start girls season, we'll start in midsummer. We'll go all the way until the end of February and March. Boys season, same thing. It's a long road. It's a lot of practice, a lot of dedication, a lot of hours on the coach's part and especially the athlete's part. So when we get to go to states and your athlete can prevail and get that big shiny medal, I can only imagine how accomplished they feel when they get them. I just know how accomplished I feel as a coach helping that person get on the road. Last year, Allie Gennaro walked in my weight room and started training. She made it to states, missed winning states by 5 pounds. walked out of that gym, or out of the auditorium that day knowing that she was coming back to win. That was the only thing that was on her mind. This year she walked in 40 pounds above everybody. Nobody could touch her. It was kind of like, show up, hi, how you doing? I'm the state winner. Great. But that's what hard work does. Whether you work on or off the field, in the gym, doesn't matter. Good grades, good. I don't know. I'm lost. Anyway, Alec, please come up and get this.
We'll have her stand in the front down here, and we'll take a picture.
My second weightlifter, this one's kind of special. This gentleman walked in out of the wrestling room and said, I'm kind of done with this. And walks in the weight room, picks up a barbell and starts going. First year in the room for less than 3 weeks, gets 5th place in states. Stays out for a year, comes back this year and says, I'm going to win. I just want to win. Comes back in and he wins states. Great thing. Oh, by the way, LSU, he's going. Anyway.
Take a picture with him here.
Come on up.
I'd also like to recognize Northport High School. Thank you to Principal Shannon Fusco, Athletic Director Tony Miller, and Assistant Principal Agnes Pelopita. Their commitment to Northport athletics is truly commendable and deeply appreciated. Please join me in welcoming Northport High School Athletic Director Tony Miller to recognize these students.
Thank you, Dr. Green, Superintendent Connor, school board members. Thank you for having us here and taking this time to recognize our athletes. Jaylin, I've watched you grow up since from little in your diapers to where you are now. So congratulations for you. This year was an exciting year for Northport High School, and I'm excited to be up here for the 2 athletes that I'm going to introduce to you guys because I got to coach both of them this year. Caitlin Kohlenberg in weightlifting and Christian Angrad, even though he won in pole vault, I got a chance to coach him in long jump and triple jump. So both of our athletes are tremendous athletes. First of all, though, I want to introduce Caitlin Kohlenberg. This was her 3rd year in weightlifting, 2nd year as a state qualifier. She took 1st place in the 129 weight class with a clean and jerk of 190 pounds and a bench press of 165 pounds. The cool thing about the clean and jerk is when she got it, Coach Egloff and I both knew that all she had to do was get a bench press and she won it. So on her first bench press, I leaned over and she got it. I said, hey, congratulations, you're a state champion. So it was a cool moment for her. She's also a softball player, standout softball player for us. I don't have all her softball stats, but there are a lot of stolen bases this year. She probably could have played any sport and excelled at it. Also a scholar athlete, and she is going to go to St. John's River to continue her softball career. Caitlin Kohlenberg, our state champion in girls weightlifting. And then Christian, who's our newest state champion. This is a cool story. He's coached by Jason Hong, who is an alumni for us. And thanks to Coach Fu, we found out that he's the first coach that we have that is a state medalist and has coached a state medalist. So pretty awesome. But Christian won the pole vaults at 4.5 meters. So for those of us that don't understand the metric system, that's 14 feet 9 inches. 2 cool things about Christian is he increased his pole vault by almost 3 feet since last year. And he had never won an individual event in pole vault until the state meet. So that was the first time that he actually took 1st place, beating out his rival from Riverview. So, you know, but he's also a scholar athlete, does all kinds of community service and helps out volunteers, tutoring. He was our, I forgot to mention that Caitlin was our female athlete of the year. Christian is the most valuable player on the track team, and also at our senior awards won the School Resource Officer Award for Excellence. So this time I'd like to introduce you to Christian Angrad. Also, Christian may have a spot at the national Nike meet coming up, so wish him luck via chance.
And then finally, I'd like to recognize Venice High School. Thank you to Principal Zoltan Cressley, Athletic Director Larry Shannon, and Assistant Principal Mike Rainey for their unwavering dedication in making Venice High Athletics a great source of pride for their students. At this time, we are honored to welcome Venice High School wrestling coach Devin Balsinger, followed by Assistant Principal Brittany Rutherford to share more about their students' accomplishments.
So much like the first coach up here said, I sometimes think athletic directors spring things on you to see what you got rather than planning. We got Milana Borelli here today. She's a 3-time girls state champ for in the state of Florida for girls wrestling. She's a 5-time national All-American, traveling all across the country to wrestle the toughest people who are out there, and All-American 5 times. She has a 4.7 GPA, which contributed to help her get a scholarship to wrestle at North Central University in Illinois. Her last accomplishment in high school is being a Trish Saunders Award winner, which is essentially the female wrestler of the year for the state of Florida. I would say anyone around that challenges her to either a wrestling match or a dark chocolate eating contest is in for a rough day. So, Milana Borelli.
Good evening. We are thankful and honored to be here in front of the Sarasota County School Board celebrating the accomplishments of Dylan, Bryant, and Tanner Rue. Dylan and Tanner are once-in-a-lifetime student athletes and embody everything Venice High School athletics wants to represent when it comes to integrity, work ethic, and competitive excellence. Their success did not come without adversity. They used their experiences and shortcomings in the previous year's state championship meets as fuel to power them to victory in this year's championship meet. As seniors, the easy choice for them would have been to just cruise to the end of the senior year, especially after winning a state championship as members of the football team. Showcasing how uncommon both of them are, after football season ended, they immediately coordinated training times with Coach Hunter and got back to the grind in pursuit of chasing this year's weightlifting state championship titles. Finally, speaking to their competitive excellence, it is one thing to be favored throughout the year with the highest totals and expected to win the championship, but it is another to be at your best when your best is required. And that is what Dylan and Tanner did to capture their respective titles. Come on up.
Well, thank you, Dr. Green. Again, in this county, we excel at so many different sports at so many different levels. I mean, in Sarasota, I would say, we should always lead, never follow. You can see with the athletes that we have, that's something that we never, ever have to worry about because we always have great coaches, administrators, parents, and I know that they are also a huge part of getting their kids there and doing what needs to be done in order to do that. So, again, hats off to all of you. Great accomplishments. Hope you have a safe summer. And LSU, Okay, moving on. Moving on. We're moving to the approval of the agenda. I need a motion and a second to adopt the agenda with posted additions after original publication. Item 4.1, the Sarasota County School Board approved the May 20th, 2025 agenda as submitted on May 13 with the following changes. Human Resources Instructional Classified Personnel Report Addendum added. Do I have a motion? So moved. Motion, Mr. Edwards. Do I have a second? Second, Ms. Marinelli. We do have Ms. Ziegler by phone. All votes tonight will be by voice. Ms. Ziegler, can you hear me?
Sorry, I can hear you. I pressed the wrong button.
That's okay. All right, we'll go ahead. We have a motion and a second. We'll go ahead. Ms. Ziegler?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Ms. Marinelli?
Yes.
Ms. Barker?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes also. Motion passes 5-0. Next, moving on to the superintendent's report. Superintendent Connor, please.
Thank you, Board Chair, and good evening, Board, and good evening, community. It's been a wonderful opportunity to share in the celebration with our athletes. Also knowing that we are in graduation season. We have already started that process. We had Suncoast Polytech High School on Friday. We had Pine View just about all day Saturday. It was a wonderful celebration, and we can't wait to look forward to what's remaining of the rest of our high schools over the next few weeks. So tonight I want to just cover a few of our items on our consent agenda that I think is worthy of just highlighting. The first one is 10.1 is the approval of the Carnegie Learning Contract. We're really excited to be offering some very in-depth, engaging, relevant, highly research-based instructional practice around mathematics professional learning called our Math for All initiative. It's very similar to our Literacy for All, which we've been in depth with for the last 2 years. So this contract is going to help us partner with Carnegie Learning, who does a very great job of providing content, pedagogy, professional learning for our teachers so that they strengthen their skills and their own content knowledge around math to better support students in the classroom. And all of this is grant funded with the gracious donation of the Barancic Foundation. They have given a lot of commitment, $1.2 million plus a match of our $600,000 to encompass $1.8 million of investment dedicated to improving teacher practice. And we're really excited, and this is just one aspect of that. Item 10.2 is the approval of the new elementary before and aftercare fee schedule. So, costs are rising, right? And the one thing that we try very hard to do is not to pass on that to families. We know that that's a burden that anytime we look at price increases, that could be a huge challenge for our families. So we looked at this very closely. We looked at neighboring districts. We looked at what it costs to operate our before and after school programs. And we are proposing a very modest increase of $1 per day. So that would be $5 per week. We are going to continue to offer reduced tiered pricing for our free and reduced lunches, which counties surrounding us do not do, because we understand the financial challenges that people are facing. But we do believe that this will at least begin to cut away at some of the burden that we are having to take on as it relates to cost increases and staffing and the resources and equipment needed for those programs. So I bring that for the board's approval tonight. Also, 10.4 is the purchase of the Flyleaf Publishing Supplemental Material for ESE in grades 3 through 5. As I stated earlier, our Literacy for All initiative has been rocking and rolling. It's doing some great things, and it all starts at the early grades. When we talk about phonics instruction, foundational skills are so important, and so we're going to dedicate $253,000 towards purchasing more decodable text for our students to support our ESE classrooms, and I'm really excited about the growth that is happening in that area. Item 10.12 is the approval of our School Links contract. There's not enough good things that can be said about the program. I know that the state of Florida offers a free platform called Zello related to college and career readiness. We have partnered with School Links for the past several years and believe that the investment to stay with School Links is really important because it offers well above and beyond what we would get with the Zello program. And so it's customized for Sarasota, it's meeting our needs, and it's providing a great pathway for our students to really excel in the college and career vein. So this is a 3-year renewal that we'll be proposing tonight. And 1021 is the purchase of materials under the cooperative contract for competitive process for software and services for government and schools. This is with Tyler Technologies. If you were able to see our last board work session, we talked about operations, pillar 4, and this is specific to transportation. Right now, we are operating under several different platforms, which is causing some cross, communication. We need to streamline our task in that department, and we believe that Tyler Technologies has the right solution for us to do scheduling, to do routing, to replace Where's My Bus app for those of you who have fun with that every day with your children. I can speak to that. The total cost of this is not going to exceed $1.2 million, and we believe that this investment is really going to help improve the overall efficiency and reliability of our transportation department. Want to just highlight that we are approaching summer very quickly, and we are partnering with All Face Food Bank for our summer feeding partnership, where we're offering free meals for children and teens all throughout the summer, throughout different locations in our community. If you want to find a site that's near you, please visit the allfacefoodbank.org/food finder website. So I do want to make a note about our parent university. So we know this is a very hard time of year, and we've had some challenges scheduling with graduations that are coming up. Many things are happening right now, so we're actually going to be postponing this. So I do want to make sure that I'm very clear. We made that decision actually today. We're going to postpone this for another time because we want to make sure that we are able to capture a large audience, and I think just the timing of the year right now is very difficult. So we're going to send out notifications to those who have registered for this, but I'm really excited about the Parent University digital parenting trainer that we have coming in. That's going to help support parents to learn how to stay informed around the latest technologies and trends that students are engaging in, and how to have those meaningful conversations and ensure that students are safe online and are responsible. So don't look at this Thursday date. We're actually going to cancel that, and we're going to postpone it, and we will reschedule and get that information out to you soon. It is time now for the ESE parent survey window. It is open until June. So if you are a parent of a student with exceptionalities, we ask to give us your feedback. We value your feedback, and we would like for you to scan that QR code or go to this website. Go to our website if you need more information to complete the online survey. At this time, I'm going to ask Jody Dumas and the team to come up to talk about a situation that we have been dealing with at Garden Elementary School related to air quality control. We know that there have been some issues with microbial growth that has been occurring at the school. We've had concerns raised by staff and parents and some of those in the community. And I want to go through step by step what we've been able to accomplish and what the results of that assessment have been, and what remediation we are doing as a result of that. So, Mr. Dumas.
Thank you, Superintendent Connor, and board members. Thank you for the opportunity to give you kind of a brief update on our ongoing assessment of the indoor air quality concerns at Garden Elementary. I've got two people here with me tonight that I want to introduce. Number one is Jim Risk. Jim is president and owner of OHC Environmental. They are our consultant on indoor air quality environmental issues in our schools. He is leading the project at Garden Elementary, and he's going to do most of the speaking tonight and tell you about kind of his investigation and what he's recommended. Melissa Yavilar is our facility manager for all health and safety throughout the district. So she really focuses on being project manager for this job, working closely with Jim, coordinating outside contractors that need to work with Jim. And then she really does a great job of providing ongoing updates to teachers If teachers have questions during the day, they email Melissa. Melissa's providing information. She works very closely with the principal, and she is also providing updates to the website to make sure we're keeping everybody informed as possible in terms of where we are in our investigation. Let me talk, before I turn it over to Jim, let me talk a little bit about indoor air quality concerns when they happen in district. They happen. We have a lot of buildings, and we get people who submit indoor air quality concerns. We have a process for that. When an indoor air quality concern gets submitted, it goes to Melissa and her team, and we've got a team of people who go out. They do investigations. They take temperature readings. They look for moisture. They do a number of different things, and in many cases, our team responds, able to make corrections, follow up with the occupants in the room or the building, and we're able to correct whatever needed to be corrected to make sure we got the environment where it needs to be as safe as it possibly can be for students and staff. In cases where we can't, when whatever the problem is in the school, the concerns from staff exceed our ability internally to analyze the problem, and we don't have the technical ability to run the tests that we need to run, that's where Mr. Risk and his firm kind of come into play, and they really take the lead on the project. And so that's exactly what we've done at Garden Elementary, and I'll let him kind of update you on our first list of findings. When I opened, I said it's ongoing assessment, and Jim's going to talk a little bit about this in terms of where we currently are with our current testing, the steps we're currently taking, and then what we're going to do in the future as we move to make sure we got all the corrections in place for hopefully the start of this coming school year. So with that, we've got a short presentation, and I want to ask Mr. Risk to kind of introduce himself a little better than that and kind of walk you through where we are.
Thank you, Jody. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting us to be here today. First, let me introduce myself a little bit more, give you background about myself. I am the president of OHC Environmental Engineering. I have a master's degree in industrial hygiene. I'm a certified industrial hygienist, certified mold assessor in the state of Florida, and I have 44 years of experience in the field. So I have done thousands of indoor air quality assessments. Most of them are in schools, colleges, and universities. So I have extensive experience performing these assessments. So I personally led this assessment, and I had some helper with me, Mr. Tim Barnes, who helped me doing a lot of the testing and so on. So I want to go through some of our findings. So the first thing, we were commissioned by the school district to come in and do a comprehensive assessment of the school. So we first wanted to interview the teachers to find out exactly what is their ailments, what they're complaining of, and get as much history as possible. That gives us a little bit of direction on what to look for and what to sample. Okay, so they were very helpful and very cooperative, and they gave us a lot of information about the history of the ailments that they're experiencing, going a little bit into some of the symptoms, and giving us some information about the school itself in general and how long this has been going on. We also interviewed some of the staff there, including the maintenance and so on, to find out if there's been any previous water leaks in the school, especially during the hurricanes and so on. So that's what we focused on initially, and we started by doing a mold or water damage investigation. And there are several ways to do that. We have moisture meters, and we have some very special infrared cameras that can actually see inside the wall, look for moisture inside the wall. However, we are in the dry season now, so these instruments are not going to be very effective right now because it hasn't rained for a long time. So we take it to the next step, and the next step there is to actually start putting holes in the wall and look into the cavity inside the wall to see if we see any signs of water damage or any signs of mold growth inside the wall. So we've done that in several areas, and we discovered that in room 138, right by the exit door there was some moisture intrusion coming through, and we found behind the wall there was some discoloration, which had that analyzed and came back elevated in biological agents. So we responded immediately, we notified the school, and again, they responded immediately, and they remediated that area immediately. Okay. Then we looked at a lot of other rooms, and actually room 138 is the only room there that has a door exterior that's exposed to the environment. All the other doors and all the other rooms are interior doors where they're covered by vestibule or overhang, so we did not find any other areas that had moisture intrusion on the exterior walls, which is very good. So then we looked at the next thing is the air handler unit. We did an extensive survey of the air handler units where we actually went inside the unit. The unit were mainly maintained properly. All the coils are clean. The drain pan is clean. The filters are clean. But we went way beyond that. We actually dove inside the unit to see what is going on inside the unit and inside your air handler and the ductwork associated with this air handler. And we did discover that there was quite a bit of growth or a lot of discoloration and dirt inside those air handler units and inside the ductwork itself. So again, we notified the school district immediately, and they responded right away by contracting with a remediation contractor. Then we are in the process now of cleaning all the air handler units and all the associated ductwork throughout the entire school. We're doing that at night, so it does not interfere with your normal operation. We're there every night, weekends, and we're going to continue on until it's completely clean. And we have one of our representatives there on site every day to make sure it's cleaned properly. We also found that there was some sewer odor. They were complaining some offensive odor in one area of the pods. And we did discover that one of the exhaust fans that's exhausting from the bathrooms and those areas was missing. Okay. So that fan was replaced immediately, and they also took it one step further, and they did some smoke tests and sealed all around the restrooms there. So hopefully that's been eliminated. Okay. We also did some biological air samples throughout the entire school, and we did discover there was a slight amplification in several areas, and we're hoping with all that remediation and all the cleaning that we're doing, that's going to eliminate that. Yeah. All right. So again, these are some of the common symptoms that was experienced by many of the teachers, mainly headaches, watering, burning eyes, congestion, itchy eyes, rashes, allergy-like symptoms, and sewer odor. So again, that usually gives us a pretty good idea on what to look for in the school. So we also found that there's some carpet odors in some areas of the schools where there's no ventilation. So we're recommending to remove all these carpets, and especially in the vestibules, because there's no air movement at all in those areas. And signs of water damage, the only area that we discovered there was water damage in the drywall is in room 138. Actually, we did find a couple more areas, one in vestibule and one of the boys and girls restrooms in the cafeteria. And that's all going to be remediated over the summer. We did destructive testing throughout the entire school in many areas, and we did not find any additional areas that was impacted. So there's just showing room 138. We already abated or remediated the walls in that room right away. And they're just showing how extensive the cleaning process is in the air handler unit. We're not just going in and just cleaning the standard cleaning. We're actually taking it apart, taking it outside and completely cleaning it out and then putting it back in. So it's probably going to be cleaner than new when we're finished with it. Okay. Again, biological agents, we did detect some elevated levels of cold Borrelia and biological agents. That's a predominant species. So again, we're hoping that with all the remediation we're doing, that's going to eliminate that. And we're going to be conducting additional sampling once all the remediation has been completed. We also collected samples for comfort parameters. Comfort parameters include carbon dioxide, oxygen, and temperature and relative humidity. And we discovered in some areas the carbon dioxide was a little bit elevated. Okay, that's usually causes, it's not really toxic or anything, it's way below the toxic level. However, it is, it might be cause a little bit discomfort among the occupants of the building. So by the end of the day, they may feel fatigue, tired, headaches, and so on. So we worked quickly. We notified the school board right away, and they took corrective actions immediately by increasing the fresh air intake into those areas throughout the school, actually, for both the portables and the school building itself. And they increased the time that the unit runs every day. So I've seen some recent data that they've collected, and it looks much better than before. So it's well below the 1,000 parts per million, which is where we want to be. So we have several action items that we accomplished a lot of it already. Cleaning of all the air handler units. Again, we completed all the cleaning for all the portables, and now we're cleaning all the air handler units in building 1. Extended the runtime of the HVAC beginning at the end of the day, and I was talking to some of the teachers. They said they can definitely feel the difference when they come in the morning. Increase the outside air intake as much as possible. to bring in fresh air from outside. We're talking about replacing some of the carpet there. We did the remediation room 138 already. We replaced the exhaust fan right away. We removed some of the ceiling tile. Well, that has not been done, but that's scheduled in the summer to remove this hard ceiling in the boys and girls bathroom. And I conducted smoke testing of all the plumbing in building 1. So we're doing daily monitoring of the CO2 level. They installed monitors throughout the school to measure for the CO2 temperature and relative humidity daily. And that's the data logging capability, so we can actually download all the data to see what the levels are. And we're going to continue watching it closely throughout the summer, especially during the rainy season, to make sure that we don't have any water leaks or moisture intrusion in the building. And especially before the teachers come back after the summer, we're going to do another extensive evaluation of the building and air sampling to make sure that they're safe for the building occupants.
So with that, before we open it up to questions, the one thing I want to stress is when we get into a situation like this, really we have Jim become the person that tells us what we need to do on campus, right? And so we want to be as objective as we possibly can. Jim being the expert in the area, he then drives everything you're seeing, right? So his data, his sampling, what he's seeing on campus, he's calling us on a daily basis saying, I'm recommending this, I'm recommending that. And that's where you're seeing that action plan. So that is all being driven by Jim and his daily interaction. In fact, he was at Garden Elementary on the way here today, stopped there to talk to some teachers and take some readings because during the course of today, we had some concerns from some teachers. So we're responding immediately. Again, we've got the professionals in place to make the recommendations. And then as a board, we are following up and doing everything that Jim recommends on the Garden Elementary campus. So with that kind of our brief update for you tonight. If we have any questions, we're happy to answer.
I also want to say that we've been very transparent with the teachers. As soon as we find out something, we let them know right away what we found. We want them to be aware of what's going on in the school. And we did the same presentation to the teachers about a week ago, going into a lot more extensive details about our findings, our corrective action.
Members of the board, any questions? Mr. Edwards?
Thank you. You certainly sound qualified and certainly have done an amazing job. So I'm grateful and appreciative of your work. I think my question is more to Mr. Dumas. I wouldn't be a school board member if I didn't ask this question.
Sure.
How much and from which fund?
So we have, honest truth is, we've had to shift some money around in the facilities operating budget and the facilities capital fund for the summer. So for example, I just had a conversation earlier today. Ms. Manelli, I think, was on the email at Lakeview. We had planned to do some repaving over there. We're not going to do that this summer. And so we've had to make some adjustments in some of our normally planned maintenance to be able to move money to garden. But we're flexible. We can make that happen, and we're comfortable. We'll pick up the stuff that we've had to realign in the next couple of years. But we've tried to shift all of our resources to make sure we're ready to go. If Jim suggests something, we're making that happen in our current budget, and we'll adjust from there.
Okay, so do I have to get to the CFO to get that answer, or we don't have a tally yet?
No, we don't have a tally yet. And really, I wouldn't be comfortable giving you that until we get to the point where Jim has done his final testing, Mr. Risk has done his final testing, he's kind of cleared the building, and then we can go back and take a look at everything we've done till there. I can give you examples. So the carpet, we're replacing all carpet. We're going to go in and get all the carpet. Jim has recommended we go into a few areas. Melissa and I and internal team talked about it. We're not comfortable. We're going to get all the carpet this summer. It's a decision we made. We feel it's best for the school. And so we just cut that PO today as $250,000. So that's one piece of what we're doing here. So it's not an inexpensive investment, but it's what we got to do for staff. And so that's what we're going to make it happen.
Sure.
By the way, you're not going back with carpets, right?
No, we're installing
No
LVT, installing LVT in the house, which is a hard floor.
Yeah, I'm not questioning should it be done. I'm just trying to have an understanding of where and how much and following, especially as we're coming up to.
Well, it's a great question, Mr. Edwards. I appreciate that. And Bonnie Penner, our CFO, and her team really worked closely with us. So if we need to move some money around to make it happen, we certainly will. Again, I want to go back to what Jim recommends, we're implementing, and so we'll make it work.
Thank you.
Ms. Marinelli?
Thank you, Mr. Enos. Just a couple of questions. So how old is Garden?
Oh, God, Ms. Marinelli, you're going to put me on the spot. Here's what I will say. Here's the good thing too, right? So in terms of your capital budget, you always invest in capital renewal, and asset maintenance, and then renewal of buildings. And so we are currently funded in process. We are breaking ground in the next couple of weeks on the new Garden Elementary School, which is going to be built on the same property right adjacent to it. And so you cannot get approval to tear buildings down unless they're at least 50 years old. So you're going to catch me off guard. I can let you know, and I can email you, but we're old enough to make sure the state allows us to tear it down and we can build a new one. And you got to be right around 50 years old to make that happen. So we are in good shape at Garden Elementary with making sure we got a brand new school coming out of the ground, which will be ready for occupancy as quick as we can get it ready.
I know, because I know how long I've been here,
Yeah.
and that school was here before I arrived, so I
It's
knew
one
it
of
had
our
to be
older
at least
facilities.
50.
Yeah, it's
So,
one of our older facilities, which it points to the importance of the capital program, right? And funding capital asset maintenance and building renewal programs, which our board has absolutely done perfectly. And so it's nice to be able to stand here tonight and know that we're in good shape in terms of a capital renewal program, and we've got a brand new school coming out of the ground in the right time too.
And I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but before this year, when the teachers started letting everybody know that there were problems, had you been notified in previous years that there were some issues?
Yeah, so if you look at Garden Elementary, we've had concerns come in from staff, individual concerns, so a room here, a room there, over the last couple of years. And in each case, our team has responded. And in previous cases, at least one, Jim Riskin and his team have been there on site taking a look. But when we get it where we've got multiple complaints at the same time coming from multiple places, that's when we really dig in and we do the more extensive testing, like the indoor air quality testing. Typically, in just an initial report, we're not doing that extensive testing. We're doing the investigations internally. We're looking for moisture damage. We're looking at the air handlers. We're not doing the air testing. It gets very expensive quickly to air test. So it's when when we have the issues where we've got more than one complaint, they're all similar, Jim recommends the testing, and that's where we are at Garden Elementary. Those are not typical of an initial complaint, but they are typical of where we have a complaint from a lot of people where we've got the same types of symptoms, and we can't go in and find something visually. We've then got to go to the air testing to see what are we dealing with.
Well, and so that leads me to, it sounds like you've been very transparent with letting teachers know as soon as you find. What are the teachers' response? Do they feel like things are being taken care of, or?
From talking to them, I've been talking to them a lot. They seem to be very appreciative of all the efforts that we're doing there. Again, they see us there almost every night, working hard. And we're very concerned. We care about what's going on there, and we want to make sure it's corrected. So I think they're very appreciative of that.
Well, and thank you, because I know that we want our teachers to be safe
Absolutely.
and not to have
And students.
any respiratory or any other kind of issues. So thank you for doing all that, and especially when we're getting ready to build a new school. So, you know, because sometimes it would be easier to say, oh, we're building a new school, we'll put that off. But I'm very appreciative that you are taking care of it and that our teachers are going to be.
I think the board sets the tone, the superintendent sets the tone. Safety and security, our buildings, the healthiness of our buildings is always top in terms of our daily activities, right? And so when we have concerns, we're going to go after it, whatever we need to do, and that's what we're doing at Garden.
Well, thank you.
I guess to follow up that, do we do any, I don't know if there's any policy or procedure, do we have randomly at any other schools based upon age parameters, or is it just based on complaints? And the reason I say, I know we reduced Sarasota High School is one of them, Garden, and a lot of them are there, the older facilities. So is there anything that we have to put schools on rotations to take samples, or is it based on complaint only?
Typically, that's a great question. Typically, it's based on what we find in the room and the response. And so the funny thing, you would think we get a lot of complaints from older schools, and sometimes we do, but sometimes we get complaints from brand new schools, right? And it can be off-gassing of material. So you never know where the issues are going to come from. We've kind of modeled our response on indoor air quality issues after the safe kits for tools for schools. It's really a national model. And what that calls for is really inspection, interviews, taking temperature readings, taking CO2 readings. You don't get into air testing unless you have multiple issues that you can't find, and that's where we are here. So Mr. Enos, I would say it's not only old buildings, it's when we have an issue we can't resolve that we bring in the higher expertise. So it could be a new building, could be an older building. But again, the majority of indoor air quality issues, our team is highly trained. They can solve them internally. We can get that done and get it corrected. It's the issues that we can't solve and you can't pinpoint, and we need the air testing to determine what we see.
Thank you. Ms. Barker, please.
So thank you. For the benefit of the community as a whole, it's my understanding, and I want to confirm this, that Garden Elementary is safe for students and staff to be in?
We have not found anything that is excessively high that we say, or if we did, we probably would have notified right away this unsafe. But nothing is really excessively high that we'd say this unsafe building environment. But of course, we want to eliminate and correct it as soon as possible.
Okay. And to piggyback on that, I know we've connected a lot with the teachers, and what sort of information have we put out to families, parents?
So we've really relied on our school principal to do a lot of that for us. And so Amy's done a wonderful job of making sure she's communicating everything. Again, Melissa provides all of that daily contact and updates in terms of what's happening today on campus, what's happening tomorrow. If Jim does conduct the test, we're providing that information. And what we've transitioned to after the parent meeting is posting everything on the website. And so we're not missing anybody. There's a clear place on the Garden Elementary website. You can go for the indoor air quality investigation. And if you look at that site, it's got OHC's initial report, and then it's got a daily update running from there with the newest right at the top that says what we're doing, what we're finding, and kind of next steps. And so we're trying to communicate as much as possible, and we thought the website would be the one place that everybody can get to, and we're not missing anybody with an email or something of that nature. So that's what we've transitioned to for a communication plan. And then what we promised, again, is what Jim had referred to, is once we get into the summer, before we bring kids and teachers back into the buildings, we're going to do a once all clear. And once we get to that point, we'll make sure that's all posted too.
Perfect, thank you. So anyone in the community who has additional questions should go to the Garden Elementary website.
Or reach out to us. I mean, we're getting emails daily and we're responding to those emails. Melissa and I and Jim, as much as we can, respond individually to any questions that are coming in. Want to make sure that people got the information and they feel like we're taking the appropriate steps in the environment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dooms. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Oh, Superintendent Connor.
Thank you. Thank you, team. I appreciate just the investment in time and sharing that with the community. I know that raises concerns for people, and just want to reassure everyone that we are doing everything in our power to remediate those issues. So thank you for the time, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
I do want to address one item tonight. I want to speak on item 1014. This was an item that I pulled from the agenda. This item involves the advertisement of our student code of conduct, which we do revise on an annual basis. Each year, just to give you a little context, the revisions of the code of conduct go through 2 levels of review. One is a committee process. That includes administrators, it includes teachers, parents, community members, and the focus of that review is really to improve the clarity of implementation of our code of conduct, and they did a commendable job. And I want to thank the committee for all of their work because it's an investment of time and energy and resources. The second level of review is our legal review. And we do this to ensure that all of the language aligns with state and federal statutes and laws and regulations. And it's the legal review that I want to address specifically and why I pulled the item. Because when we did the revisions to section 300.3 on discrimination, during that review, legal counsel did provide language as written that created, understandably, a concern in our community. It appeared to weaken the protections of some of our students based on sexual orientation or gender identity. So our internal team did raise issue and had extensive conversations with our legal department, and it was my understanding that that concern was being resolved and had been addressed before we actually finalized that document and it was published. That didn't happen. And the proposed language, the original language that was proposed at that time, remained on the code of conduct, the draft, and was actually published. So when I realized that, I pulled the item. I have since directed staff to go back to the legal department, look at the revised language, and match that language to what this board has previously approved in other district documents, such as our student progression plan. That language makes clear that we uphold an environment free from discrimination for all students, consistent with every classification protected by state and federal law. And that language avoids listing out specific groups to prevent excluding anyone by omission. So, as the superintendent, I am ultimately responsible for what appears on the agenda and what is published. So, that was a miss. That language should have never made it to that point to a public agenda. So, that's why I know it triggered alarm in the community. I also know that each of these 5 board members, our staff, myself, are aligned on this. It doesn't matter who you are. Every student deserves to be in a safe, respected, and protected environment. And that's a non-negotiable. So I know many of you are here tonight to address that during general comments. I would request you bring those concerns directly to me. These board members had nothing to do with the language that was proposed. And as the superintendent, I'm responsible for what appears on the agenda. And so I want you to be rest assured that that language will be corrected moving forward in the June agenda. It will be consistent with other language that we have approved as a board in our student progression plan. And I want you to know that we are all committed to making sure that every student is safe, respected, and protected every single day, no matter who they are. I'll yield the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Connor. As we continue to move forward, I appreciate that you brought that forward in reference to the stuff, because I can tell you, school safety, and it doesn't matter who you are or what you are, there should be no bullying. You should be respected. That's been my situation from the very beginning. It always will be and always shall be. So that being stated, we can address those later after we have public comments. We will have opportunity for the board members to discuss. As right now, we are now moving on to our school showcase. Tonight's school showcase is Glenallen Elementary School. It's going to be presented by proud principal, Miss Rebecca Drum.
Good evening, Mr. Connor, board members, and community members. I'm Becky Drum, the proud principal of Glenallen Elementary School, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to share a glimpse into Glenallen Elementary, where Panther Pride isn't just a motto, it's a way of life. Panther Pride stands for our focus on purpose, relationships, instruction, data, and engagement. It guides every decision we make for our students, staff, and families, from innovative academics to strong community partnerships and dedicated educators. Our mission is to create a thriving environment for every child. I'm proud to share the incredible work happening at Glenallen every day, and I thank you for your continued support. So now let's take a closer look at Panther Pride. Glenallen Elementary proudly serves 764 students, including our pre-K and VPK learners. As a Title I school, we are deeply committed to equity and access for all of our students. Our student body is richly diverse, with 83% of our students receiving free or reduced lunch, 27% of our students receiving exceptional student education services, and 19% are English language learners. Families at Glenallen contribute to a vibrant, multilingual community, with our home languages to include Russian, Ukrainian, Spanish, Haitian Creole, Portuguese, Filipino, and Romanian. At Glenallen, embracing diversity is central to our identity. We are committed to inclusivity, high expectations, and strong student supports. This balanced approach has led to notable academic improvement. For this school year, we have improved from a C to a B, making gains in every school grades category. This is a proud accomplishment for our entire school community. This growth is a result of the dedicated efforts from our staff, teachers, leadership, and families. As we celebrate, we remain focused on building momentum and ensuring success for all students. We are actively tracking data for our current school grade and are on track to maintain a B grade. Our commitment to improving is ongoing. The work doesn't stop. Glenallen team is already reflecting on our current practices, analyzing student data, and strategically planning for the 25-26 school year. Our focus remains clear, doing what's best for all students every day. At Glenallen, we believe growth is a journey, and we are proud to walk it together as a united school community. Glenallen's progress and Panther Pride are made possible by our dedicated and hardworking staff. Despite challenges such as attendance issues, hurricanes, behavioral needs, and learning gaps, our team shows up every day with passion and purpose. Staff remain focused on what matters most, our students. And at Glenallen, challenges don't define our story. Our staff rewrite it with hope, resilience, and determination. Staff passion and dedication have fueled strategic actions to accelerate student growth. A major shift was a stronger focus on our collaborative planning and data analysis through professional learning communities. This focus led to improved instructional practices across our classrooms. We also piloted a program called Panther Planning, which gave teachers time to analyze data, regroup students, and refine instructional strategies every 3 weeks. At Glenallen, we operate as one united team committed to supporting every learner every day. What sets Glenallen apart is our staff's dedication beyond the school day. This year, many teachers and support staff led after-school programs aimed at closing learning gaps. We launched 3 impactful programs. Our Tutor Up program was a reading and math tutoring program for students in grades 3 through 5 that had 32 out of 40 students showing improved growth based on pre and post assessments. Our Mission to Mastery was a science tutoring program that had 81% of the students that participated showing significant gains through hands-on standard aligned lessons. And our Finish Line Learner program, which targeted our ELL students, had 20 students receiving targeted language support to better access grade level content. These programs highlight our staff's commitment to success for all learners. At Glenallen, we know that student success is not built by the school alone. It's built by a united community. Over the past 3 years, we've expanded opportunities for families to engage in learning, both on and off campus. Some highlights include our Literacy Week, our Publix Math Night, and our first ever, and we hope annual, Remake Learning Night, Rocking to the Arts, that had over 700 participants. These events reflect the vibrant spirit of our school family and the power of partnership. Our volunteer program has also significantly grown this year from 40 to 62 active volunteers, contributing close to 1,500 hours to support our students and staff. These volunteers play a crucial role, and they are vital members of our school community. We are also deeply grateful for our business and community partners who support our school by providing school supplies, holiday gifts, and more, ensuring that every child has what they need to thrive. At Glenallen, families, volunteers, business partners, and staff are working together to build something truly special. At Glenallen, leadership begins early. Programs like our Safety Patrol program, GNN News Network, Melody Makers, and Girls on the Run help students build confidence, character, and responsibility as students contribute meaningfully to our school community. These opportunities enrich our school culture and promote increased engagement and the well-being of our students. As I close, I want to emphasize what makes Glenallen truly exceptional: our dedicated staff and our incredible families. Their commitment and passion and belief in every child help our school thrive, creating a place where every student feels seen, valued, and empowered to succeed. Thank you to the school board, the district leaders, and our community for allowing me to share our Panther Pride of Glenallen. One more point of pride: last year, Glenallen was named a Unified Champions School through the Special Olympics Unified Athletes Program. This honor celebrates inclusion through play, connection, and compassion. To conclude, I invite you to watch a short highlight video showcasing one of our proudest moments, our unified athletes being celebrated by our student body before heading to the Atlanta Braves spring training facility. It was a day filled with joy, laughter, and love. You won't help but be able to smile.
If ever I had a video, would you dance in it? Would you dance in that? Oh, sunshine, you are my sunshine. Let it in. Oh, sunshine, you are my sunshine. Let it in. They said that you love me all alone. Now I see you dancing. I wanna see where this goes. I need a light to see.
Thank you.
Principal Drum, I just want to take a moment to first thank you for coming out tonight. We are in the Northport area, and what better way to celebrate Northport by highlighting one of our great elementary schools. You've done, I mean, look at your data. You have definitely exhibited excellence in the pursuit of excellence through your academic scores. And I tell you, every time I visit Glenallen, I go directly to the principal's office, and she's never there. Because she is in classrooms supporting teachers. And we always talk about setting the direction, developing your people, which you are consistently doing, and really just caring about kids each and every day. And I see that when I'm on your campus. I see that through your presentation today, and I just thank you for your leadership.
Thank you.
Mr. Edwards?
One of the things I love about being in Northport is the obvious ability to showcase a school like Glenallen. And as the superintendent pointed out, the academic achievement really does speak for itself and the hard work that you and your staff deliver every day. But the thing that I really love about the Glenallen community, and it doesn't get enough attention, is that word community. You have taken your families, your staff, and you've blended it into one cohesive feeling. Your students feel it, your teachers feel it, and your families feel it. So that is in addition to all that great academic work. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Ms. Parker, please.
I think our community doesn't always realize all the wonderful things that are happening in South County. And sometimes we don't always understand that a lot of, all of our Northport schools are Title I schools. We think about our North County schools as having those needs, but we don't always remember that our Northport schools have those needs as well. But what I love when I came to visit you was that doesn't define you. You all are making a difference in the lives of young people consistently every single day. And I'm so grateful for the work that you do. Your leadership is so sturdy and so comforting. And I know that the families who benefit from that are very grateful. And I am as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Marinelli?
Thank you, Mr. Enos. I remember when Glenallen was first opened, when it was being built, and what a special school and community it was then, and it's just grown, and it's just a remarkable school now. And I appreciate all the time and teachers spend with their students, with families. And I have a friend whose grandchild is in your special needs class, and I saw him on the video, and she just always raves about the education and the patience that the teachers have for her grandson. So I think that speaks volumes when you get it from community members. So congratulations, and please let your staff know congratulations. And this was a great presentation, so thank you.
Thank you.
And that's what I would say is just, again, it's about the staff and the leadership that ultimately drives the boat. And I mean, you look at the grades and as they continue to come up, and then I know it'll be a BA, I'm sure of it. I know that the commitment is there. You have great teachers, great leadership, and, continue the excellent work that's going on down there because it's something that's, the community is only as good as its schools. And your school is exceptional. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on. It's now we're going up to the member of the public comment. And this is the point of our meeting where you will have 3 minutes in reference to discuss agenda items. Please address your comments to the board. And we will go ahead and begin. Ms. Tompkins.
The first person tonight is Maureen Keys, followed by Jamie Barrett. Jamie Barrett, followed by Carol Lerner.
Oh, you're going over here.
Okay, Carol Lerner, and then followed by Deb Hayes.
Good evening. My name is Carol Lerner. I'm Director of Support Our Schools, and I'm speaking on agenda item 10.2. There is a symbiotic relationship between most of the families whose children attend Sarasota County schools and the district itself. Both are under economic and financial stress, and both are tightening their belts, trying to do more with less. The fact that the United Way's ALICE study demonstrates that it takes $104,000 per year for a family of 4 to live in Sarasota, but barely 50% of the families earn that much, makes it clear that most families whose children attend our schools are under financial stress. Not only that, but just about the entirety of the district's non-administrative staff, including teachers with young children, are under similar financial stress, let alone food service workers who earn as little as pennies over $15 per hour, some of them. So when families are charged for vital services like preschool, as what happened last year, or experience a raise in the before and after school care for elementary age children, it hits families hard, even if the raise seems nominal. Families living on the edge, as so many do, can reach a tipping point that can cause a literal collapse. But there is a way out of this that is a win-win for families and school districts. The community school model that I have often discussed from this dais could solve this problem, as community schools are usually open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., thus providing no-cost childcare services. The beauty of a community school is that the cost for providing this and other services does not fall just on the school district, but rather it is a collective project of the community and the district. The state provides some funding, local foundations chip in, community organizations and individuals chip in with funds or even actual services, volunteer services. It has its own community board that engages in fundraising. Sarasota County schools could start with Title I schools where the need is greatest and expand from there. Since community schools provide on-site health, behavioral health, as well as food pantries, clothing exchanges, and other key family services, the school becomes a hub for families and the surrounding community. It might even attract students that are from other schools that could fill empty seats. I know this is doable. The district and community members, me included, were about to launch 3 community partnership schools here nearly 6 years ago, but unexpected changes in district leadership stopped the process just as we were about to be awarded funding. Let's set up a task force and start the process. Let's work together.
Deb Hayes, followed by Julie Forrester.
Good evening.
My name is Deb Hayes, a Sarasota County resident. I'm here to support a different agenda item, item 10.18, which is a request to authorize an additional $1 million to be added to a $2 million contract for the provision of vital therapy and other contracted services for students with special needs. That request appears to be needed for the completion of this fiscal year and relates to the district's inability to hire staff for those essential services. Not long ago, the board was presented with a new model for the provision of mental health services for students within the district as it struggles with budget cuts, increased needs, and staffing shortages. The district has already shortened summer session for ESE students and others that are needing more academic assistance. Unfortunately, the state's proposed K-12 education budget has inadequately funded services for special needs and for expanding very needed mental health. The federal government has not given any assurance on the continuation of IDEA or Title I funding. And in addition, proposed Medicaid cuts could dramatically impact how students are served. With millions of dollars of lost revenue, I believe that the district must continue to prioritize the needs of our most vulnerable population. And with that in mind, I respectfully ask the board to consider doing the following. Please keep the public informed as proposed changes to the delivery of services for ESE and mental health needs are made. Please involve community members and parents in the process of determining how priorities are made, if cuts have to be made or adjustments have to be made. Please be transparent on how those decisions regarding staffing and contracting services are being made. And inform the public where impacts to Medicaid funding are having adverse effects on the delivery of services to our kids. Please provide an ongoing assessment of the quality of services provided by individually contracted sources. And please provide frequent public updates on the successes or challenges that the district is having with the provision of those services. And I would stick in returning to a 2-meeting-a-month schedule would be very, very helpful. As always, the community is here to assist the district face these challenges. Please let us know what we can do to help. Thank you.
Julie Forrester, followed by Mary Holmes.
Good evening, board members and Superintendent Connor. My name is Julie Forrester. I'm here tonight as a parent and someone who is deeply concerned about the affordability crisis that is facing Sarasota families, especially in relation to item 10.2. The report from United Way and United for Alice, which stands for Asset Limited, Income Constricted, Employed, that Carol mentioned, now states that it takes over $100,000 for a family of 4 to survive in Sarasota County, and nearly half of the households fall below that line. These are working families, often juggling multiple jobs, who still can't make ends meet. Yet many of them don't qualify for basic support. Free lunch cuts off at under $40,000 a year, and reduced lunch cuts off at $60,000 a year. So a family earning $61,000 a year, well below what is needed to survive here, gets no help. Last week, a friend and fellow parent called me in tears because she wasn't sure that she's going to be able to afford to pay her rent next month. She's trying to take on extra shifts, but the child care expenses make it so that the more she works, the further behind she gets. These are the real problems and challenges facing real Sarasota families today. Now, agenda item 10.2 proposes an increase in before and after care fees of $5 per child per week, morning or afternoon. So if you have 3 kids in both programs, and most working parents that are struggling to make ends meet will need both programs, that's $30 per week per student. That's over $120 per month for a family for a family that has 3 children. For many families, that's groceries, that's gas to get to work. That's the difference between stability and financial ruin. I understand the district has a budget to balance, but we have to ask, are we balancing it on the back of the very families the district is supposed to be serving? The district needs to work for working families. That means doing more than raising fees and calling it a day. It means building real community-rooted solutions. So in my son's class, when there's a field trip, they always have, a fund that you can put in to chip in for classmates that can't afford to it. And we always do because we care. What if we took that same spirit of care and systematized it? We could create a sliding scale for before and after care. We could set up a fund that families, foundations, and organizations can contribute to support these struggling families. We could invite parents and community members into the process and help shape real solutions. We live in a generous community. People want to help, but we need the district to lead the way. This isn't about politics, it's about people. It's about showing working families that their school district sees them, hears them, and is fighting for them. Let's work together for working families. Thank you.
Mary Holmes, followed by Molly Young.
Good evening, Superintendent, board members. My name is Mary Holmes, and I'm a 36-year veteran, that sounds old, teacher of ESC students. I was very concerned when I read the agenda item regarding changing the rights regarding LGBTQ students. And I understand what you said about it was not the board, it was on you, but the fact that it could even be considered right now makes me want to continue with my speech. It's almost as though...
Ms. Holmes, you have to stay to the agenda items. We could add you to public comment at the end, or general comment in reference to 10.14, because it's
So
no
because
longer
this was an agenda item but was removed, it's no longer valid?
correct. Well, it's valid in general comment, but it's not currently as an agenda item for what we're to vote on. We will definitely put you at the end for general comment.
Molly Young, followed by Wendy Rosen.
Good evening, board. I also want to echo what Julie and Carol mentioned on item 10.2. As a parent who will have 4 kids in the public school system next year, I definitely understand this concern of, for our family, that would be an extra $40 a week or an extra $160 a month. At Booker Elementary, where my kids go, we are super fortunate to have aftercare programs that are provided to our community, and those are amazing, and we're very lucky to have those where families are able to go without those costs. And I just know how important that is and what a difference that makes to the families at Booker in particular, but I know a lot of these Title I schools where the families are living below the $100,000 per family mark. And again, and this year we already don't know how Title I families and Title I schools will be affected. I think this is really concerning because while $5 doesn't sound like a lot, quickly that adds up. And when you're already struggling with rent that continues to raise and food costs and all this other uncertainty, yeah, I just want to, I echo that concern. I hope that we can find another solution. I love the idea of a tiered approach where families that are above that $100,000 mark or who have more ability are able to contribute more, because if you're making between $60,000 and $100,000 a year, that's a big difference to not receive any of that additional funding to have to pay the increase. So anyway, I just wanted to make that concern known. Thank you.
Wendy Rosen, followed by Lisa Scher.
Hello, I'm Wendy Rosen. This morning I went out for breakfast and the cafe staff was in crisis. And it's just one more sign of what's happening in our community with people who are impoverished and people in the low income area. They were in crisis because half the kitchen staff was gone. Sarasota has become too expensive and too dangerous for immigrants. It's more than just kitchen help. We're losing landscapers, truck drivers, farm laborers, hotel workers, home builders, and caregivers, and 100 other categories of low-wage workers. The good life in Sarasota does not come cheap. And with federal spending cuts, it's about to get more expensive. And while the wealthy contribute a lot to our community, a lot of their dollars are sleeping in investment portfolios and not circulating through our town. Economists like Krugman and Stieglitz claim that the engine of our economy relies on active money that moves from hand to hand and small business to small business. Every dollar earned by low-income families is working money. There's nothing left over at the end of the month to put in savings or to add to child care or before or after care. Thank you.
Before I begin, I'd like to thank Mr. Connor and the board for this wonderful announcement of your cooperation with the All-Face Food Bank. The very thought that here in the richest country in the world that children go to bed hungry is more than I can bear. I'd like to speak briefly on agenda item 10.2, approval of the new fee schedule for before and after school care. I'll try not to be redundant. Although a $5 a week increase may not seem like much given the cost of Starbucks these days, this proposed increase in the fee schedule really could be the tipping point for many parents and guardians. The reason that families need to make use of the before and after care is that many of them need to work 2 or 3 jobs to survive. This much needed service is helping them to keep their boats afloat, but just barely. Support our schools, and our friends at the Sea Alliance would like to suggest that the board put this increase on hold until we can find a way to raise additional funds to mitigate these costs for our working families and restructure the proposed fee schedule. Julie Forster already, covered the several ideas. I certainly think that the tiered system for aftercare fees is a good place to start. We have a wonderfully generous community. You mentioned the Bransig Foundation. Every time we turn around, they're helping our community out. But why can't we being foundations and charities, public education advocates like C and SOS, churches, synagogues, mosques, and other religious groups, interested individuals who want to contribute to help others work together to raise these funds. Let's look also, and I know you guys are doing this clearly, look for private and government grants to establish a fund to provide assistance to those who are caught in this squeeze. We appreciate that you're dancing as fast as you can. I've worked in business. I know what it's like when currency crashes, et cetera, but I worked with businesses. You work with children. It's a whole different ballgame. And so thank you for everything that you're doing. We want to work with you. As a gesture of goodwill, Support Our Schools would like to contribute $500 from our very limited funds to support these working families who need help paying for before or after care. If you can let us know, I'll check in with you how we can go about doing that. Happy to do so. I'm going to paraphrase this, but Jesus said in Luke chapter 12, verse 48, to those whom much is given, much is expected. And I think we all live that here. And so I'd like us to continue to, or not to continue, but to really start working together and not against each other, which I'm afraid it is perceived as happening sometimes. Along that note, I'd like to request as well that we return to 2 meetings a month. There's going to be so much that you guys are going to have to deal with in the coming months with our budget. We still don't, I haven't looked at the news today, but last I heard, we still don't have an agreed budget. So
Betty Barriga, followed by Nicole Walkowitz.
Good evening, school board members. My name is Betty Barriga. I am with LULAC, which is the League of United Latin American Citizens. We advocate for the Hispanic community. I am here along with other community organizations such as the NAACP, PFLAC, Sea Alliance, to voice our concerns about agenda item 10.2, protect working families, which will increase the before and after school care program fees by $5 per child per week. This will affect a lot of working families in the area. These programs are essential for working families as well as a safer alternative for a lot of children in our communities. It is no secret that wages have not kept up with the cost of living. It is no secret that a lot of families are one check away from being homeless. Raising the fees for these programs will have a negative impact on our community as a whole. You, as members of the school board, are guardians of the next generation. It is your duty to protect them, to respect them, to educate them, to guard them from measures that will create hardships. Thank you very much.
Nicole Walkowitz, followed by Anya Dennison and Alan Pollock.
Here, right? I apologize. Need a lot of time. So my name is Nicole Volkevich. I'm a resident of Venice, Florida, a college student in Sarasota County, and as a kid, I grew up struggling economically. My family, consisting of 2 full-time working parents, a little brother, and myself, was just poor enough to struggle on a day-to-day basis, but not enough to actually be entitled to any programs that might have made our lives easier. I am not alone. Most programs, both federal and state, neglect to adjust the income caps on these programs for inflation, leaving far too many working-class families alone and without help. Recalling the way my family struggled all those years ago, I can't help but worry for the sustainability of Sarasota County when we even entertain the idea of raising prices on vital programs like before and after school care. Currently, we're seeing people leave states like California due to the high cost of living. Why on earth would we bring that into our own backyard? Why are we recklessly allotting our money from our budget to new schools and voucher programs that our residents weren't particularly fond of in the first place? Why are we punishing Sarasota residents who make under $100,000 a year, the amount needed to sustainably live in Sarasota County currently, instead of finding a new solution, especially when this county appeals to eager new residents for its good schools and stellar beaches? Quote, in 2024, 1/3 of all households in Sarasota County were housing cost burdened, meaning they spend more than 30% of their annual income on housing expenses. Is this sustainable to you? Is that a statistic that inclines you to make before and after school care more expensive for households already struggling to maintain just their housing alone? Will Sarasota County become exclusive to just those with money? This cannot be the solution to that what is a serious problem. I'd like to believe my elected officials can come up with something better. We deserve better. Pause the proposed fee increase until a sliding model is implemented. Thank you.
Anya Dennison, followed by Alan Pollock.
Good evening. I'm Anya. I'm a proud graduate of Sarasota County Schools. I'm here to speak in support of Sarasota families that rely on before and after care programs. It really just worried me to see the fees increase on the agenda. I know that the $1 a day seems like a small amount in the grand scheme of things. I know that the superintendent said costs are rising. There just really has to be another option when these fees can be the tipping point for so many families in our district. Regardless of how small it might seem, they don't deserve to be priced out of basic services. I also think that there's a point to be made on the worry of it all. I think that I've talked about this in the past, and I still think that a great step would be to host a public budget workshop, something that could be open to families, staff, community members, so we can understand what's driving decisions like this, so that when we have concerns about issues that are so important to us, we can understand how you're actually coming to those decisions in a way that's more thorough than a back and forth at a board meeting like this. I know we're starting that with the community conversations, and I would really like to see more of that. And also long-term, I think there's value in investing in technology that makes our budget more transparent and navigable. I think that it would be really helpful for parents, teachers, students to be able to more clearly see where money's going and how it impacts them, and that the budget can be really, really confusing, as we have heard a lot about. If the board is serious about supporting students, that support has to include families, and affordability isn't a fringe issue. The cost of living, like you've heard, is outpacing the systems we have to support it. There's so many different local solutions that people have named. Let's explore them. We've fundraised to pay off school lunch debt. At a minimum, can we do the same for before and after care? We need more public access and transparency in decision-making like this. When board meetings are cut in half and discrimination protections for students are quietly proposed for removal, it feels really important that our systems reflect fairness, compassion, and just things that make common sense. Superintendent, I really appreciate what you said about the code of conduct revision. And at the same time, I worry about the culture that allowed for this iteration to be created in the first place. And it feels connected to the fees, to raise fees for families that need it the most, to exclude protections based on sexual orientation, gender identity. I understand it was an error, but I just worry again about what kind of precedent allowed it to make it that far. I worry, and I really think that having 2 meetings a month would make this more manageable. The agenda was like 500 pages this time and 800 last meeting. I feel like it'd be harder for issues like the code to slip through if the document wasn't hundreds of pages long and takes so long to review. It doesn't make sense, and I want to understand. And if you agree that it doesn't make sense, please pause this increase on before and after care fees and work with the community on a plan that lifts people up rather than pushes them out. Thank you.
Alan Pollock is the last speaker.
Hello, my name is Alan. I'm here as a concerned community member and a graduate of this district. As you consider agenda item 10.2, I ask that you think carefully about what this fee increase truly means. An extra $5 per child per week might not seem like much, but for families already struggling to afford rent, gas, and groceries, it's not pocket change, it's pressure. According to the United Way and United for Alice, as somebody has already previously stated, nearly half of Sarasota families can't meet basic needs despite working full-time. And I'm not talking about luxury spending, I'm talking about survival. So I urge you to reject this fee increase and stand with families who make this district strong, because it's not just about the money, it's about keeping care accessible for every single child. So please support, don't strain our community. Thank you.
All right. Any board member comments in reference to that? I'd like to say something. I think that one of the things that I know that happened last year when we end up with, I think was Faith that paid off the balance in reference to the students that had the unpaid balances. I mean, obviously, even with approval on this, based upon the cost of living and everything else that's going on for the people before and after, you also have to have safety and security concerns now based on the state statute. No funding comes with that. There's so many more things as I definitely can understand. You know, most people don't know where I came from, but at the end of the day, my family, we were on government assistance and we lived in the projects in New Jersey. So at the end of the day, I understand what it is. I do get that even if we do this, that what we can do is that as a board, we can always amend it again, because my understanding this will take effect next school year. And that if we can get communities to put up money and however we can come up and work to say at this level, we can offer this to make it more affordable to the lowest income families. I think obviously then again, that goes to boost what we do in Sarasota County to be able to take care of the kids. So again, I just off that, as I know after speaking with Superintendent about this, this is something that as we had that same discussion in reference to the cost of food and how the cafeteria and just the cost of food is going up. So we have to obviously stay in touch with that as well as all the other services that we're providing. So any of the assistance, I can guarantee you, I'll take the $500 check from Support Our Schools tonight at the end. Not to Tim Enos, not to me, not to me. But just what I'm saying is to make, not to make a joke of it or make light. I think that if the community had the support like that, and we could come up with some guidelines to be able to, I know that the board as superintendent, I know that whatever we can do in order to help parents and students, I think that would be something that we could, I think that would be a win-win. We could start at the bottom to see where we can for the most needy of the students to make sure that we provide them. Because if you look at it at $15 an hour at minimum wage, you're barely surviving with an apartment in Sarasota's. One bedroom is 2 bedrooms or $2,000 at $1,800. It's crazy. So I think that was a great idea, and I'd be more than open. And I know the superintendent was shaking his head that we could definitely look into something that about trying to raise money and offset the cost that goes into after school and prior to school care. Because there are things like now that we have to have the single point of entry, we have to have the gates monitored, we have to do that before and after. It's not just bell to bell anymore. So that means there's additional cost for that for staff. I mean, it's just these things again. So you can say, well, it's $1. But again, it really doesn't even offset the cost of the increases we have. So we're trying to really be considerate. And then if you look, I know up here, I think Manatee is 55, Lee County is 70. So we are still below any of the surrounding counties. And it's also a gradual scale that based on how many kids, first kid, second kid, third kid, free lunch, reduced lunch. Those are all different fees that we're trying to do the best that we can do in order to impact as many families as we can. Because if parents don't work, that turns into a whole nother situation. So we'll try to do, so I appreciate that. Ms. Barker?
I just wanted to point out, I didn't hear anyone mention this. The folks that staff those programs often fall into that same category of people only making under $100,000 a year. And as a school district, we have to be able to attract those people to these positions, and we have to be able to pay them a fair wage. So without some cost associated, there is no way to do that. We already have a very difficult time finding people sometimes to staff these positions. I know at my children's school, it is a challenge to find a teacher who is willing to stay and do that. And oftentimes the young people who are working in those positions, they also require a cost of living as well. So, you know, when we're talking about this, yes, it is absolutely a burden on families, and I hear that. I just hope that you take into account, this isn't the school board looking to make an extra $1 a day. It's us looking to really attract folks to these positions and be able to pay them equitably, and to be able to provide that service. That said, I really appreciate the idea of looking at a tiered system somehow. If we can get some community involvement, I'd lend my voice to asking the superintendent to see if that's something we can look into. I also really appreciate the comment from Mrs. Lerner about community schools. That's something that I am also interested in, and I like the idea of having a task force. If the board was interested in moving in that direction, I would fully support that as well. But I just wanted to bring that additional piece to the table, that when we're staffing these positions, those folks are in the same category as the families that they serve, and we have to be able to attract them and pay them. So.
Mr. Edwards?
Thank you. I was going to point out what Mrs. Barker pointed out about the salaries of the people who staff those before and after care. I don't think people heard also that the programs are already running at a deficit, and that this was a minute attempt to offset some of the deficit. That happens in frankly, our lunchroom. I don't know, we've had conversations before about how we've had to move money from the general fund to supplement our food service. So when the public comes in with, you know, somehow that we're doing something to our community, where it's hard to hear that. You heard also about Garden Elementary. That was an unexpected expense. And frankly, I think that number is going to end up being well over $1 million when you start talking about people working in the evening on weekends so that we're not disrupting. So I really so appreciate everything and the ideas that I heard tonight, which I will go back to the superintendent and see what kind of community conversations we can talk about that would be a general type fund. I think there's an opportunity that that can happen. I hear it on the board among my colleagues. So I appreciate the great ideas and the concepts. I just want you to have empathy a bit for the fact that, as my grandfather used to say, we're robbing Peter to pay Paul. And the real challenge that we have, frankly, in Mayas, is coming from Tallahassee and from the federal government. And we're just trying to make those adjustments as soundly as we possibly can and as efficiently as we possibly can so that it doesn't hurt our families and our students.
Ms. Marinelli, please.
Thank you. I also appreciate everybody, and I don't want to repeat because everything that has been said, I pretty much agree with. And being part of the school system for so long, the things that we're talking about were the same things that we talked about in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s, 2000s, and here we are, 2025. We all know it doesn't matter who's ever been in political party, from the federal government to the local, the school systems have never been funded to meet all the needs. And I don't think in my lifetime I'm ever going to see that it's going to be funded. So it's absolutely critical that the community works together and we continue to ask our nonprofits. And I like the approach of the tiered, and our superintendent is very well respected in the community and with the foundations. So I would like to have him work on that. And but as said, we have to go ahead and approve this, but we have to all work together because we can't stop it because it's a complex issue. Because if you pause one thing, then it's going to cause another thing, all these line items. So I think we've all have been saying that we need to go ahead and approve this with the caveats that we looked at a tier and that our superintendent starts working on things and then reports back to the board of where we're going, because we all know this is a very critical. A dollar a day for some, they don't have it. Other people, that's a Starbucks, one day of what it would cost for 1 week. So we need to make sure that we take care of our most vulnerable students as well as all our students and make decisions that don't impact one group to help another. We're here for all kids every day.
Thank you. As we move forward, we'll go ahead and continue with the agenda. Next item for business, may I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
Motion by Mr. Edwards, may I have a second? Second by Ms. Barker. This again will be a voice vote. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Ziegler? We'll go on. Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Ms. Marinelli?
Yes.
Ms. Barker?
Yes.
And the chair also votes yes. Motion carries 4-0. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Ms. Barker. May I have a second? Second by Ms. Marinelli. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move forward. Ms. Ziegler? Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Ms. Marinelli?
Yes.
Ms. Barker?
Yes.
And the chair also votes yes. The motion carries 4-0. On to new business. Item 11.1, impact fee study. Mr. Connor, please.
Thank you, Board Chair. This item I'm recommending for approval to purchase services from Tischler Bice under a competitive awarded piggyback contract to update our district's educational facility and impact fee study. The current cycle ends in December 2026, and to consider any fee adjustment, we need to have a study completed in advance. So this work is critical to ensure that as we continue to look for ways to secure funding for new development and construction needs, we would like to approve this study moving forward.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. May I have a motion to approve the impact fee study?
I move to approve the purchase of materials for the fee structure, or impact fee structure as presented.
Motion by Mr. Edwards. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Marinelli. Any discussion? Seeing none. Ms. Ziegler? Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Ms. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Marinelli?
Yes.
And the chair also votes yes. Motion carries 4-0. New business, item 11.2, construction manager contract for Garden Elementary replacement project.
Yes, thank you. This is for a construction manager contract. We are looking to replace the entire Garden Elementary School. And this follows the board's February approval of the pre-construction agreement and includes all the major site and building elements. This is going to be a 2-story school. It's going to have new bus loops for buses and for parents, drop-off, playgrounds, outdoor dining. It's going to be a full site restoration for the demolition of the current school. The guaranteed maximum price is $63.95 million with a total project budget of $81 million for your approval.
Thank you, Superintendent Connor. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Sarasota County School Board approve the agreement with John F. Swift in the amount of $63,946,303.14 for the construction services of Garden Elementary School replacement project.
Motion by Mr. Edwards. May I have a second? Second by Ms. Barker. Any discussion? I will obviously discuss it. Probably it's a good thing we're replacing the school after what we just heard. Mr. Dumas, you concur? Yes, thumbs up from the crowd. That being stated, can we go ahead and we'll do a voice vote? Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Ms. Marinelli?
Yes.
Ms. Barker?
Yes.
And the chair also is a yes. Motion carries 4-0. 11.3, property lease agreement. Mr. Connor, please.
Yes, this is for the approval for cell tower with Miles Tower Management LLC for placing a cell tower at the former South County Bus Depot, which is near our Taylor Ranch Elementary School. So we bring this forth for your approval. It is the construction of a 150-foot monopole tower, very similar to the one that we put on the Booker High School campus in October of 2022.
Thank you, Superintendent Connor. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Sarasota County School Board approve the real property lease agreement for the former South County Bus Depot, 2500 Taylor Ranch Trail, Venice, Florida.
Motion by Mr. Edwards. May I have a second? Second by Ms. Marinelli. Any discussion? Also, just for the listeners in the community, we've had many studies done in reference to what this would, by putting a tower on a campus, and ultimately if there's any effects, and there are none. So just so you know that we make sure that we would never do something that would harm any children. So with these things, we know that they're safe and they do generate some income to offset some of our costs. That being said, Ms. Barker?
Yes.
Ms. Marinelli?
Yes.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes also. Motion carries 4-0. Item 11.4, revised policies, Chapter 3, School Administration. Mr. Connor, please.
Yes, 11.3, we are seeking final approval for the revised policies from Chapter 3. These revisions were reviewed at our April 1st workshop and were advertised per Florida statute. The updates will be to 3.10, 3.25, 3.43, 3.50, and 3.50A.
Thank you, Superintendent Connor. May I have a motion?
I move that the Sarasota County School Board approve the revised policies from the School Board Policy Book, Chapter 3, School Administration.
The policies.
And the okay. All right, policy 3.10, Administrative Organization. Policy 3.25, Automatic External Defibrillators. Policy 3.43, Internet Safety. Policy 3.50, Public Records Request. Policy 3.50A, Public Records Request Procedures.
Thank you. Motion by Ms. Marinelli. May I have a second? Second by Ms. Barker. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Ms. Marinelli?
Yes.
Ms. Barker?
Yes.
And the chair also votes yes. Motion carries 4-0. Moving on, new business. Item 11.5, revised policies, Chapter 5. Students, Mr. Connor, please.
Yes, in 11.4, we are seeking final approval for the revised policies of Chapter 5, addressing student-related policies, including attendance zones, school choice options, student discipline, academic honesty, and records. These changes were also reviewed back in April and have been advertised per state statute, and we are asking for approval tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Sarasota County School Board approve the revised policies from the School Board Policy Book, Chapter 5, Students, specifically Policy 5.20, Student Attendance Zones and Choice Options, Policy 5.33, Teacher Removal of Students from Classroom, Policy 5.34, Expulsion of Students, Policy 5.70, Student Records, Policy 5.71, Directory Information, Policy 5.201, School Choice Options, Policy 5.322, Prohibition against the use, sale, or possession of alcohol and drugs, Policy 5.371, Gang Control, Policy 5.372, it's a surprise policy, Policy 5.50, Academic Honesty.
Thank you, Ms. Barker. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Marinelli. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Ms. Marinelli?
Yes.
Ms. Barker?
Yes.
And the chair also votes yes. Motion carries 4-0. Reference to new business, item 11.6, litigation session. Mr. Dugan, please.
Yes, 11.6 is to request a private meeting concerning settlement negotiations or strategy sessions related to one of our current lawsuits, which is Maria Peterson versus Sarasota County School Board, case number 2023 CA 7688NC, pursuant to a Florida statute that requires this process, which is Florida Statute 286.011 sub 8, asking permission today to authorize that a private meeting to be held outside of the sunshine laws, which is statutorily permitted, to be held on June 10th, 2025 to discuss that lawsuit.
Thank you, Mr. Dugan. May I have a motion?
I move to authorize a litigation strategy session regarding Maria Peterson versus the Sarasota County School Board, case number 2023 CA 7688NC, pursuant to the Florida statute section 286.0118, to be held on June 10th, 2025 at the time to be determined in order to conduct the private meeting.
Motion by Mr. Edwards. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Marinelli. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Ms. Marinelli?
Yes.
Ms. Barker?
Yes.
And the chair also votes yes. Motion carries 4-0. Item 11.7, litigation session. Mr. Dugan, please.
Yes, this request is similar to the last one. I'm asking the board to schedule a private meeting outside of the sunshine, which again is statutorily permitted if you follow this process, concerning settlement negotiations and or strategy sessions related to a lawsuit Melissa Stone as parent legal guardian of A.S., a minor child, versus Sarasota County School Board, case number 2025 CA 335NC. Again, that is pursuant to Florida Statute 286.011 subsection 8. And I'm asking that you authorize this private meeting to also be held on June 10th, 2025.
Thank you, sir. May I have a motion?
I move to authorize a litigation strategy session regarding Melissa Stone as parent legal guardian of A.S., a minor child, versus Sarasota County School Board, case number 2025 CA 335NC, pursuant to Florida Statute Section 286.0118, to be held on June 10th, 2025, at a time to be determined in order to conduct a private meeting.
Motion by Ms. Barker. May I have a second? Second by Ms. Marinelli. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Ms. Marinelli?
Yes.
Ms. Barker?
Yes.
And the chair also votes yes. Motion carried 4-0. That concludes the new business. We are now on to public comment. During this public comment, you will have up to 2 minutes. Please approach the board to the podium. Ms. Tompkins, please.
The first speaker is Mary Holmes, followed by Lisa Schur and Ryan Hazinski.
Okay, good evening. I have not been to a board meeting since November, and it's not because I was not interested or gave up participating. It's because I was brutally attacked in my classroom on December 4th. Yesterday was the first day that I returned to work after more than 6 months of being out. I was hospitalized 3 times for pain management before they were able to operate. An 18-year-old student fractured my wrist, broke my thumb, and several other bones in my hand. But much worse, he decimated, shredded my entire rotator cuff. I don't believe that there should be any situation in which the phrase 10 days of in the line of duty pay is in the same sentence as public school teacher. I've lost more than $8,000 in salary. There were 0 consequences to the student. Again, this is ESE, he's a very, very high functioning student. I feel complete support from my principal, Sean Donovan. I think he's done everything in his power. There are no easy answers for this dilemma of the level of injuries experienced by staff members at Oak Park. But I think you need to understand that it's a completely different animal. The level of tube feeding, menstrual care, diapering, the ever-present threat of danger. When you all get the workers' comp reports, please pay attention. We're not getting paper cuts. We're not missing 4 days. We're missing 6 months. Because of FAPE, free and public education. Can't just suspend the young man, and I wouldn't recommend it. But I've got a right to feel safe in my own classroom. And so do my students.
Lisa Schur, followed by Ryan Hazinski and Jamie Barrett.
Thank you, Mr. Connor, for your comments, but I still feel very, very strongly. I may not have understood exactly what you were saying, but I still feel very, very strongly that we need to maintain the language that is currently in section 300.3, where we specifically enumerate safety measures, protection for our queer and trans students. To do anything less, to me, is saying that they are less than and not deserving. And let me make one thing clear. Nobody was pointing fingers at any board members here, or even you, Mr. Connor, for what we saw. We were concerned. We were concerned that these students were not being equitably, I know that's a bad word to say, equity and equitable are bad words nowadays, but that's really what we need in this case. For these kids to even get to the table and be protected requires not just equality, but equity. So, this is just me speaking. I feel very, very strongly that that language needs to be included in section 300.3. Thank you.
Ryan Hazinski, followed by Jamie Barrett and Mary Ginley.
Superintendent Connor, honorable board members, Ryan Hazinski down from Tampa, Florida, former 20-year educator, high school. I sent you an email about 3 hours ago. I'm the ardent blockchain education liaison. I used to be in the classroom. I've been full-time in the blockchain industry for about 3 years now. It's a burgeoning industry. There's a lot happening here in Florida. And Florida has always been very future-facing, forward-thinking, an innovative state. And we need to do a lot more to prepare our students for the future. Blockchain, AI, these technologies are radically transforming our world, and they're going to continue to do so. So this initiative is completely free to the taxpayer. We're backed by a foundation, so this is always good news. Every conversation I have with a school board member, senior district leadership, been to many counties at this point, contiguous to Hillsborough. You guys are about the farthest I've been, maybe in Orange as well. Same for legislators. It's been opening doors just because, again, you say zero cost to the taxpayer, that we're willing to bear our own resources, that this has been quite encouraging. So we were just starting off primarily with blockchain education, focused more on technically minded students who maybe are already in computer science and so on and so forth. However, a very fateful meeting with State Senator Danny Burgess, who's my senator, back in last December. He actually asked about why not cover financial literacy as well in the context of digital assets. There's a whole state set of Sunshine State standards that were introduced last year, in fact, around this issue. So now we're working on curriculum in that area as well. So would love to continue the conversation with anybody from district leadership to see how we could get Sarasota involved with this. We're currently building out curriculum now, first with an in-person seminar that we're going to deliver, but then also for some of the financial literacy stuff. Of course, Senator Huckel, the bill that was named in her honor was passed, I think 2 years ago in 22, and it went into effect in 23. So that's a graduation requirement for many of your students. So would love to work with you, and you have my email, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks so much.
Jamie Barrett, followed by Mary Ginley and Carol Lerner.
Hi, I'm Jamie Barrett, and I'm really relieved that you are not changing the section 301 in the code of the students' codes. I just pray it never happens again. But really, what's really facing us is our budget, obviously, right? So I know we don't all agree on vouchers, but we need to find a compromise, right? Shouldn't there be an income cap on those who receive the vouchers? It seems like there's not. Educate me if I'm wrong. What I'm reading is we're literally taking from the poor and giving to the rich. Okay. Maybe some of those funds can help those in need of after-school care. Maybe it can help pay for the people in the food business that are feeding our children. Maybe we can put them in other places. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. I just feel that with the predicted 40,000 new vouchers, we're projected to show a $2 billion deficit in the year 2026 and 27. Currently, of the 3.2 million students funded through the Florida Education Finance Program, 86% attend public schools, while only 14% use the policy-funded vouchers for private schools. Yet over 70% of the increased FP funding is allocated to vouchers. I don't know. I do my budget at home, and I have to take away one thing to afford another. I don't know. Am I wrong? So, I don't know. Maybe go back to the idea of the tiers of the vouchers. I don't know.
Good evening. My name is Mary Ginley, and 11 years ago, I retired from Sarasota County Schools after 42 years of teaching. So I'm pretty old. Not as old as Rana Bazzini, but I'm getting there. I'm addressing my remarks to you, Mr. Superintendent, because you requested it. I'm glad you pulled the proposed change to the Student Code of Conduct. But these protections still need to be clearly and explicitly defined because there are kids who are at risk. And the ones who are at risk are not just our gay kids and our trans kids. All students are at risk. One night when my daughter was 10, she told me that Miss Hansen had pinned a picture of a turtle on the back of her friend Jessica. No, I gasped. Well, Mom, she said, she is kind of slow. I went to see the principal the next morning and told him I did not want my child ever to think it was okay to mock someone because they were different. Miss Hanson did not have a classroom the next year. Know this. You people have enormous power. It scares me how much power you have to affect the lives of hundreds of school children. If you decide to explicitly skip these protections, you could do irreparable harm, not only to the students who are directly affected, but also to a whole other group of kids who are going to hear from adults that it's okay to harass these people because they're not as important as other ones. I believe every one of you wants to do what's right. Don't disappoint me.
Carol Lerner, followed by Deb Hayes and Julie Forrester.
Carol Lerner for Support Our Schools. I don't want to repeat what was said, but I very much agree that I'm glad that your general orientation for the LGBTQ community is there, but I think we really have to have specific language. First of all, I don't think I've ever seen a non-discrimination statement that didn't actually list categories. I don't know whether it's legally required, but I've never seen one. But I think, I mean, it's important for all the categories, every single one of them. But I do think with the gender identity, sexual orientation, and such, that's particularly important. I just know from working in a school district so many years, living in Florida now for 10 years, that the LGBTQ plus community, they're the kids that are the most bullied. The Trevor Project, which is an LGBTQ suicide prevention and crisis intervention program, they did a survey of youth, of LGBTQ plus youth, and 69% of them said that they wanted to leave Florida because they didn't feel safe. That's a pretty extreme statement. So I would ask you to consider putting every single category that was in it previously in the current one. And I hope that happens because remember our motto, every student, every day. Thank you.
Deb Hayes, followed by Julie Forrester and JT Pryor.
Again, thank you for removing the agenda item that has been questioned related to the student code of conduct. I really hope that it will give time for full examination and the implication of the changes that were proposed. As you know, or some of you know, I have a background in healthcare. And one of the things that I understood in that field is what's commonly referred to as the Hippocratic Oath. Many versions of that oath, but in general, the concept is above all, do no harm. So in my opinion, to take out something that was specifically affirming non-discrimination for our very, very vulnerable students, that is causing harm. So I ask, as you reconsider and as the staff come back with those recommendations for the student code of conduct, that we really specifically address the students that for over 2 years now we have heard coming before the board asking for protection, parents asking for protection for their students who happen to be LGBTQ. And I would ask that you all take on the role of caregiver and do no harm. Thank you.
Julie Forrester, followed by Mary Holmes and JT Pryor and Molly Young.
Good evening, board members and Superintendent Connor. I'm Julie Forrester, and I was also going to urge you to uphold protections for students based on sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. While I'm relieved to hear your explanation, Superintendent Connor, it's still important to reaffirm why these protections matter and to ask this board to make a clear public commitment to keeping them in place. These protections are not political. They are basic safeguards that help ensure every student every day is treated with dignity and safety, just as this district motto promises. Removing this language would not help a single student. It would not improve student achievement outcomes. It would not save the district money. It would do the opposite and would cause real harm, especially to queer and trans students who already face higher rates of bullying, isolation, and mental health challenges. So the question that I would like an answer to is, why was this even proposed? Let's be honest, this was a targeted, unnecessary move that puts politics over students. Tonight I'm asking for three things. One, a commitment to protect the full language of section 300.3 of the Student Code of Conduct. Two, a commitment to reject any future efforts to weaken it. And three, and most of all, a commitment to put students first, always. We all want our schools to be safe, inclusive places where kids can be themselves and feel like they belong. Let's make sure every student every day isn't just a motto, it's a promise to all of our students. Thank you.
JT Pryor, followed by Molly Young and Wendy Rosen.
Good evening, I'm JT Pryor. I am a Sarasota Christian minister who serves a Rainbow congregation, and I'm also an advocate for our public schools. Mr. Connor, I want to say thank you so much for your explanation of what happened with that agenda item and for moving it from the agenda. I really appreciate that as an LGBTQ person who went through the public schools and can know the damage that bullying for LGBTQ students can do. But I do want to ask you today to uphold this language that we currently have in our Student Code of Conduct. It's really important that we have that listed, that we have protections for LGBTQ students, people who are queer, anyone who is marginalized, that it's spelled out for them so they can feel at ease that if they're experiencing something because of how they might be marginalized or what they might be facing, that they can go to a trusted adult because it's spelled out in policy. Proposed language did not improve learning, safety, or student development. It really just promoted walls and division between students instead of seeing value and worth in every student. We cannot be every student every day if students, LGBTQ students, Black students, immigrant students, feel like their safety is compromised. We cannot be every student every day if students who are already marginalized by society are opened up to further alienation from their peers. So I call on you and the rest of the board today to leave this existing language around anti-discrimination as it is. But I call on you even more to allow our students to be our priority. Let's keep our students feeling safe and let's commit to every student every day. Thank you.
Molly Young, followed by Wendy Rosen and Dick Stammer.
Hello again. I also want to thank you for removing item 1014. That was a great relief to hear your explanation and to hear that it was not going to be on the agenda today. And like others have said, it is still a little concerning to hear the language not explicitly proposed or to hear it left to federal and state definitions, just because I think that could leave us open to big loopholes that wouldn't explicitly protect our queer community children. So I also would urge you to be very explicit in those definitions. And then also I just want to mention I was not able to be at the listening session last month, but I did watch it on YouTube and I really enjoyed it. I wish I was there and I'm looking forward to being at the next one. And I do wish that maybe we can work towards more frequent listening sessions in case, we're not able to get to all of them. And also I just would like to ask, like others have tonight, if we can still consider moving towards the 2 meetings a month. I think that would be super helpful. That's all. Thank you.
Wendy Rosen, followed by Dick Stammer and Skyla Fowler.
Board. I'm Wendy Rosen from Support Our Schools. And I want to thank you for removing the item. And I am going to hope that it does not reappear at any time. And that Superintendent Connor look into the process and the procedure that allowed this error to happen, because there should be consequences for something being included in the agenda that was obviously not supposed to be included in the agenda. Here's my take on it. 2 kids get hauled into the principal's office for fighting. With this proposed language, you've set up a situation where one kid can charge another for being queer, whether or not they are, and get away with no consequences for for abuse or harassment. I know what it's like to have a kid who was a little different, smaller, quieter than other kids. Bullies quickly target these kids and make life hell for them and learning impossible. In my case, the principal advised me to homeschool my child. We also know that in some cases, now every kid is different. Some girls have short hair, some boys have long hair, and we want every kid to feel included. We don't want any child to feel constant pain or the constant pain of rejection. We also know that in some cases, an ostracized child becomes so tormented that they come to school with a gun. We should be looking for these kids and protecting them to ease their pain and make sure that they feel safe, supported, and included. The proposed changes to the Student Code of Conduct opens the door for a busy principal to dismiss an incident, not file a report, or call parents or charge the abuser. You can stop this garbage with a stick, or you can do it with sensitivity education. Oh, wait, that's not allowed in this state. Thank you.
Dick Stammer, followed by Skyla Fowler and Debbie Blackwell.
Thank you. I'm Dick Stammer. I'm a 23-year resident of Sarasota, and I brought some written comments regarding protections for LGBTQ students in Sarasota. I want to thank Superintendent Connor for at least letting us know why it was removed from the agenda. And I'm still a little confused about that and concerned that you were even forced into that position, sir, to remove it. I can't improve on the previous comments that have been made about the importance of equity for LGBTQ students, particularly those with issues of sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. What I do want to say is I'm a Unitarian Universalist of Sarasota, and we believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. If we do not identify all students, particularly as I just mentioned, being in this protected class, we are not recognizing their inherent worth and dignity to be who they are. And so I ask that you make every effort to include the appropriate language that allows all of these students to be in this protected class. I would not want to see them become political pawns as part of a political agenda. This, as others have said, this goes beyond politics. Thank you.
Skyla Fowler, followed by Debbie Blackwell and Jules Rain.
Thank you for letting me speak today. I'm Skyla Fowler I'm the Sergeant of Arms for North Park High School's D5 SWAT team. I'm here today to bring awareness as to why our school needs vape detectors in our school bathrooms. D5 has been trying to have this done in our schools, but it has been rejected multiple times. We have done vaping task force meetings, community outreach, and awareness meetings. We have spoken to the Sarasota County's superintendent and have multiple surveys from students about vaping in the bathrooms. In our school, many students vape and or do drugs. This is a major problem, not only for the students doing it, but also for the students who don't. School bathrooms are the #1 place students go to vape. Because of this, many students are scared of using the bathrooms, myself included. These surveys from students show more than half feel unsafe in the bathrooms. Charlotte County has these vape detectors in their schools and have supporting programs with amazing websites full of resources. So what is stopping Sarasota County from doing the same? Having vape detectors sends alerts to the administrators in the school and activates cameras outside of the bathrooms to record students leaving. They also not only detect vapor, but also THC and nicotine. Vape detectors promote a vape-free environment and ensure students' privacy by only monitoring air particles. We would really like and appreciate the support of the school board on promoting a vape-free school. We have tried to tell our administration about this problem, but they turn a blind eye to us and they actually told us that they can't do anything. So, and you said, Mr. Connor, that you would like to have like safe schools. So I believe that this would help. Thank you for listening and stay drug free.
Debbie Blackwell, followed by Jules Rain and Niobe Fleming.
Good evening. I'm Debbie Blackwell, the Public Policy Director with the American Association of University Women in Venice. I am a 44-year teacher veteran with a master's degree in education. That's 8 presidents. All of our teachers are below $100,000 a year. You know that. So be careful how you talk about those people. They're poor. Now, you need to be brave and have courage, and you have to say no to for-profit schools. You need to be brave and have courage and say no to for-profit schools. They're not accountable for a darn thing, the way every one of your teachers who earn less than $100,000 are accountable. Now, public taxpayer dollars are for public education only, is firmly what the American Association of University Women believes nationwide. We do believe in after-school care. We do believe, we researched to make sure all the kids were getting food this summer, and community-eligible programs, the CEP program, such as they have as at Fruitville Elementary, should be in every Title I school, if not all schools in Sarasota County. Let me see. The United States of America, in my opinion, serves the largest diverse amount of children in the world, and I'm proud of it. More children learn to read and calculate and establish firm foundations for careers. Public education provides breakfast and lunch to more children than any other country in the world, preventing childhood hunger. Now, another way to save money, besides giving money to for-profit schools, is testing practices. As a special ed teacher, I can tell you how to test a kid and get their grade level, their reading level, their math level. And it's not with what we're doing right now. You can use a SLOS and oral reading test, and in 3 minutes have an accurate reading level on a child, so you know what materials and books to give them. You can give them a wide range achievement test and get extra all-around levels. You know that if you taught special ed. So you need to be brave and have courage and use taxpayer dollars for public education.
Jules Rain, followed by Niobe Fleming and Kennedy Cole.
Good evening. I'm Jules Rain with Equality Florida. I'm also a member of the community, and I have friends and family in the district. I came here to speak on Section 300.3 of the Student Code of Conduct, and I want to thank you, Superintendent Connor, for your remarks earlier this evening, reaffirming this district's commitment to protect every student every day and keep them free from discrimination, bullying, and harassment. The one concern I had was that we might be removing specific language which protects specific named classes of students from discrimination and harassment. Imagine this. You've created a table in which it's called the non-discrimination and harassment table. And you've set a place at this table for every school, every student in the district. That's equality, right? Everyone gets a place at the table of non-discrimination and harassment. However, not everyone can get to the table. Your non-LGBTQ students can get there easily. They don't experience much discrimination and harassment. It's easy for them to get a seat at the table. However, your students who are gender diverse, who are gay, who are LGBTQ, they have a hard time. There are more obstacles in their path there. That's a lack of equity. We have 8 laws on the books in the state of Florida against LGBTQ people. We have 4 State Department policies. Last year, the state of Florida filed 22 anti-LGBTQ bills. And as a result, LGBTQ youth want to leave the state, as an earlier speaker mentioned, and they experience anxiety, depression, and suicidal ideation at a rate 4 times higher than their non-LGBTQ peers. It is so important that we have specific language naming them as protected from bullying, harassment, and discrimination in the school district, because they are the ones most at risk. So I would urge you, in your quest to create a safe, affirming environment for every student, make sure they can get to the table, make sure they have a place so that they can focus on the things that students should be
Niobe Fleming, followed by Kennedy Cole and Avery Cole.
Hello, my name is Niobe Fleming. I'm a recent graduate of State College of Florida Collegiate School in Venice, located in South County, and I've been attending school board meetings for about a year now. Let me start by saying that having a meeting here in Northport, where I live, was a welcome change. As a student, it meant not having to drive nearly an hour in traffic from Northport to Sarasota, often during school nights, which are on Tuesdays, just to have my voice heard. And I'm not alone. This is the reality for many students, parents, and community members here in South County who want to participate but are consistently left out because of their geography. For years, this board has almost exclusively met in the northern part of the county, effectively excluding thousands of residents from having a fair and consistent voice in decisions that impact their children, their schools, and their communities. That is not how democracy should function. While the addition of community listening sessions is a nice gesture, it is not enough. These sessions do not allow for votes or decisions, and they certainly don't replace the importance of regularly scheduled board meetings, where real, actionable policy is discussed. Without the ability to participate in actual decision-making, meetings are meant to exclude those who live in South County. Holding just one board meeting per month, mostly in one part of the county, has led to bloated agendas, late-night sessions, and a rushed, inaccessible process. It's time for this board to recognize that one meeting per month simply doesn't work, and that South County deserves more than a token appearance on the schedule. I urge you to restore 2 board meetings per month, with one permanently held in South County, not as a favor, but as a reflection and respect and equity and fairness to all residents of this county. Because democracy only works when everyone has access. You work for us, you are elected by us, your salaries are funded by taxpayers, regardless of where they live in Sarasota County, and you should be held accountable to all of them, regardless of where they live. Thank you.
Kennedy Cole.
Good evening. I had a whole thing planned, but I'm tired, not gonna lie. I woke up at 4:30 this morning to go to school. I gotta drive an hour home in a couple minutes. So once he gets out of here, we're gonna go get some McDonald's and go home. But thank you guys for bringing a meeting down to Northport. I mean, it's my turn to share the burden from Niobe, taking an hour drive, but I'm just kind of curious I'm still lost as to why we switched from the 2 meetings before. It's been a second since I've been able to come because I'm a high schooler. I'm crazy busy. I got baseball, I got end of year banquets, I've got school trips, I've got all sorts of stuff. I've got lots of high school friends who have those exact same things. And they want to be here. They want to talk to all your smiling faces. They want to engage in this back and forth that we get in the civic democracy that America has, but they can't because we are so insanely busy because we're high schoolers trying to get into good colleges like FSU, trying to get in to these incredible programs, but we can't make it to these board meetings because, I mean, the agenda day was 581 pages long. I got homework, I got family to help, I got all sorts of stuff to do. I don't have time for 581 pages, frankly. And I'm excited to keep coming back to these meetings. I'm excited as we get into summer to keep coming back. But what are we doing? I mean, I really love doing this, but we have to find a better way to do it. And the way we had, was it perfect? No. Will there ever be a perfect way? No. But is it better than what we're doing right now? I like to think so. If you have any questions, I'll be at Booker High School tomorrow and the rest of this year from 7:30 to 2:15. Email me. I'm good to go. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night.
Avery Cole.
Good evening. My name is Avery Cole, twin of that one, and I am a current sophomore at Booker High School. I've been really excited for this meeting as it's our last meeting of the school year. We finally made it. But my emotions have been up and down over the last 24 hours. I was filled with dread before this meeting as it was put on the agenda to remove protections for queer and trans students. Thankfully, it was removed, but the simple thought that it could be a reality was terrifying, as those protections are there for a reason. At the start of the second semester, I was indirectly assaulted. When students threw a trash can over a bathroom stall door and it hit me in the head, there were protections that made me feel safe. I was told it was not because I was gay, but all I have been thinking about is what would have happened if that assault would have taken place because of my sexual orientation. If this item would have been passed, how would my school make sure I feel safe? The fact that this language was considered and not one person caught this red flag before it was published to the public makes me wonder. Is it because there are so many agenda items to fit into one meeting a month? If that is why, we might need to bring our meeting back. But if it's not, whatever led to this mishap should be fixed so it can be prevented in the future. Queer and trans students are still students who deserve to have their protections that make them feel safe. I hope I never see this agenda item ever again by mistake or on purpose. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you. That concludes public comment. So we go ahead on to board members' comments and then on to some important dates. Anyone like to go first? Ms. Marinelli?
First, I would like to clarify when I was making my comments on agenda item 10.2. I just want the public to know that I am very much in favor of having task force and having community involvement. In case nobody caught that in my comments, I want to make that very clear. And we've also had a vaping task force. And Mr. Connor, when is that going to be presented to the board, please?
We're going to be presenting an update on the June workshop.
Okay, thank you. So those task force really have an important part in helping us board members make decisions. And I'd also like to comment on the voucher program. I mean, we've been talking about it for a couple of years, and we know that from the national level to the state level, all across the country, that the voucher program is growing. And if we say no, as Mr. Edwards has pointed out before, that then if we say no, then we get sued. And then if we would not win, not only do we have to pay our attorney fees, we have to pay the charter school that is challenging us there. So we are in a quandary of, do I really want to approve that? Or are we costing more money in a time when we don't have it? But I think the underlying question is, why are parents choosing to take their children out of public school? And I'm not here to debate that with you. That is a question of why. We can all listen to everybody's comments about it, but why? And it covers all families. Socioeconomic, race, yeah. You look at all the data, but why? Why are they taking their children out? So also now on a different tone, you know, this past couple weeks, as we're winding down the school year, there's been so many remarkable programs that have been going on, and all of us have been trying to get to all of them. And from the ACE ceremonies, the mask ceremonies, to the elementary levels, to the IB. And last week I went to one, and it was the first time it was ever done this way at Venice High School. And they had a signing there were 16 students and 15 were there that they signed for the military. And they had the recruiters from each branch. And it was such a proud moment for those students and their families. And one young lady had a 5.1 grade point average. And as the gentleman that was speaking said, he didn't even know kids could get a 5.1. And she was accepted at West Point, and she is going into nuclear, submarine, and all that takes for AI, everything. So I was just very impressed. And we have 4 graduations coming up. And I think we have to really remember all the great things that this district offers for families and students, and the dedication of our teachers, because so many of these programs require them to get additional training for it. So this community is very, very lucky, and our students are very lucky because they have so many choices that many of us in the older generations did not have. And I think it's just a very impressive when you hear parents talk about, but more importantly, when students talk about the great opportunities that they have in this district, and that they thank everybody involved. So that was it for me.
Thank you, Ms. Marinelli. Ms. Barker?
I feel a little bit like a broken record sometimes, but I'm going to say it again. And I appreciate Mrs. Marinelli's outlook on vouchers, but families are not pulling their children out of public school at an alarming rate. In fact, our enrollment has remained somewhat steady. The fact that these vouchers are costing, taxpayer-funded vouchers are costing the state of Florida an enormous amount of money, billions of dollars, and we are at risk of bankrupting our state budget, is because we are now funding 2 parallel streams of education. We are funding both the public schools, and we are funding a huge number of students who never set foot in our schools in the first place. The fact of the matter is that the vast majority of families, both in Sarasota and in the state of Florida and across the United States of America, continue to choose to send their children to public schools. That is the fact. That is the data. And in Florida, we actually have a great model for school choice. We have the Florida Virtual School, and we fund that virtual school as if it is its own district. And this district has also recommended to Tallahassee, listen, Florida does a great job of school choice with our Florida Virtual School. We can fund it without bankrupting the state. We can fund it without pulling money from our public schools. Let's do that. Tallahassee has not been receptive to that yet. That doesn't mean they won't be. But what I want to encourage you is that this is a conversation that is happening at the state level. And the fact that our state representatives have not been able to reconcile a budget means that they are listening. That the pressure that we are putting on, where we are saying, listen, we still send our kids to these public schools. You have a responsibility to fund the choice that most families make for their students, is having an impact. So please continue to have those conversations with the folks that represent you in Tallahassee. I'm continuing to have those conversations with the folks that represent me in Tallahassee, and I'm not giving up on that, because I think at the end of the day, that is incredibly important. So forgive me, Ms. Marinelli, you know I love you, but I have to respectfully disagree about the fact that families are not leaving our public schools in droves. That is not true. Okay, bless you. I get it. But the data matters, the facts matter. So that's number one. And then number 2, to all my parents out there, happy May-cember. It is May, which means it's the same as Christmas time, but no presents. All the pressure. But it's been a delight to attend some of the graduations that I've been to. I'm looking forward to many more. And thirdly, with respect to the proposed changes to the Student Code of Conduct, huge thank you to Mr. Connor. The level of humility there to say, listen, you know, I take responsibility for this. I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. So thank you for that. And for the community to know that it's not just a policy stance for me, it's a moral imperative that we absolutely must protect every student that walks through our doors. They matter. All of us matter. Thank you.
Mr. Edwards?
I don't even need to go down the voucher road. I think almost everybody understands my positions on vouchers and charter schools and speaking truth to power. I've been saying that for 5 years, so that topic can be covered. I want to say that I appreciate that we did not have the discussion that Mr. Connor took that off of our agenda, but as a member of the LGBTQ plus community, I'm going to reserve my comments tonight, and I will look forward to sharing them when and if that comes back on the agenda, because I have a lot to say. Because I think you know I've been a member of that community for quite some time. And I've been protecting all students for the time that I've been on this dais. I do want to thank those fourth graders for the rainstorm. I wish it would rain. I mean, that was pretty amazing that they got those sound effects all in there, and I thought that was quite creative. I want to also congratulate Dr. Brennan Asplin. He was named Superintendent of St. Johns County today, and I'm proud to have worked with him, and I'm proud that he's had an impact on my career as a school board member, and I'm excited for his new appointment. I also want to say I'm lobbying, I haven't stopped, I'm lobbying for the second meeting here at Northport. I think we need to be here every month. And that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have those community conversations, because I like that too. So I'm still lobbying for that. And lastly, you know, in the state of Florida, it's statutorily required that we teach civics from middle school up. And so I urge all students that are in those classrooms or have been in those classrooms, and I urge the public to reread the Constitution. This would be a really good time to bone up on the Constitution and discuss it. I think it's very topical. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. A couple of quick things, and we'll talk about some important dates. Just to let you know, we did, for those who've been around, like I have been forever, we tried a vape detector device at Riverview High School. The problem with it is obviously with privacy in the bathrooms, you can't videotape any bathrooms, so we had it to the outside. What happened is you have 25 kids that go in, you have 25 kids coming out. It's very, very labor intensive for the staff, because then you basically have to do a search and talk to every single student to find out who was holding the vape, because all it does is tell you that somebody was vaping. It doesn't say who it was. So I'm into anything we can do in order to stop that, but it's kind of more of a, it's kind of like having an alarm sign at the front of your house. Burglars who don't go to houses that are alarmed aren't going to come to your house. So it's kind of like the students that aren't going to vape in the bathroom because there's a vape detector in there, they're going to find somewhere else to vape. So I'm not pushing the problem, but we have tried that. It's just very, very labor intensive for the administration because of the amount of kids that go in there. And there's also a delay. So if you think from when they vape, by the time it goes up to the ceiling to hit the vape, to then send out a text message to the admin then to respond, to then pull the tape, to get the 25 kids, to identify them, to pull them out. So it's something that we have tried here. It's something that we can't do again, but it's really as a deterrent in reference to those who we know. Can you find it? There's only one kid in there and a detector comes off. There's only one kid that leaves. Pretty much that's the kid that was vaping. The problem is between class change, you're talking about a bunch of kids. So that's the issue with it. But we need to look at some practices. I know that Superintendent Connor with the vape task force, talk to other students doing things, is we'll do whatever we can do because it also, you can vape marijuana and it smells like blueberries. I mean, you can, we're just in a situation where we need to try to address it. But we have tried the vaping detectors before. It's just very, very labor intensive. So that's all I wanted to say about that. Me and Kathy Tompkins, we got, Kathy was given a plaque and recognized by the Venice Rotary Club, Venice Nokomis Rotary Club, in reference to all of her wonderful things she's done with them over the year. Because what people don't know is that they recognize the Teacher of the Year. And the Teacher of the Year this year was Christine Lawton Clark from Taylor Ranch Elementary School. And she's an ESC teacher. Her whole entire career of 27 years has all been at the same school. And she also has cerebral palsy. And she is working with our ESC students. It was an amazing story she did. So congratulations to her. Congratulations to Tara Spillman, the principal there. It was a great lunch that they recognized again, our teachers that are doing great work, because without them, we're not where we are. With that also, I want to make sure that we thank again the Northport City Commissioners for allowing us to come down here to be able to be part of this. I think that this is something we can also go to the Venice Chamber. I know that we went to Longboat 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Anyway, all 5 parents showed up. Anyway, the real no reason to go to Longboat Key, but ultimately I think Venice would be another one that would be beneficial to go to. And I think that that was something that I would also ask the superintendent to put on the agenda. With that, a couple of things. Suncoast Polytech, they had some great pictures in the paper. Great graduation. We all went. Phenomenal. The atrium pictures, I mean, it was a great event. We also just went to the Pine View. Not that it was 4.5 hours, but it was 4.5 hours with 4 intermissions. So that is, but those kids, I love it. Unbelievable accolades of these kids. Plus, out of that Pine View class, there were 2 students that received West Point appointments, which was pretty incredible. So coming up, we have, we have Memorial Day. So I'd be remiss. Thank you for everyone, and to those families. You have most all of our appreciation for what you've done for our country, and because the life that you've given to those families. Memorial Day is a solemn day. It's because it's a day to remember the people that have given it all. We have graduation at Oak Park on the 28th at 2 o'clock. Great ceremony. The 29th, we have 3 in the same night. We have Northport, Sarasota, and Venice. Had to do that this year because of the hurricane and the makeup days. Otherwise, they're supposed to be set apart so all the board members can be able to attend, as well as the superintendent. Our last day for staff is on the 30th, which is also Riverview's graduation, which is funny because I graduated in that same place. All 3 of my kids graduated in that same place, I think on the same stage, on the same seats. That's another story. And then on the 31st, at the last graduation is 9 a.m. for Booker, which there was a great last year presentation. They had the jazz band up on stage. It was really good. I will say this, all of our principals really, really make it special for our kids when they graduate, because this is by far the best school district in the state of Florida, by far. With all of that, I want to say, please have a happy and safe weekend, especially if you're going to go out on a boat. This weekend is the #1 busiest boating under the influence weekend they have of the year, which is Memorial Day. So please be safe. Have the students have a safe. See you at some of the graduations. If you get an opportunity, you should come out and get see them. And with that, I forgot one more thing. Next regularly scheduled meeting is June 10th at 3 p.m. And the monthly workshop is June 17th. With that, we're now adjourned.